My descendants burn incense and worship me like a true immortal. Greetings, fellow multiversal adventurers. It's an honor to have you back in the saga that has us all hooked. Official channel statement: this story is 100% epic fiction, so please don't attempt real magic. The results aren't guaranteed and insurance won't cover it. The rights to this masterpiece belong entirely to its brilliant original author. We are just a barge sharing it with you. Do you want to keep being part of this amazing community? Join our ninja army of subscribers on YouTube and give this content a like. And for true fans, our Patreon has exclusive ninjutsu waiting for you. Chapter 126: Martial Saint's Divine Power. Is this luck? I actually met him. Yang Genshuo felt that Yang Shi seemed to have too much luck. He had entered the army under the name Lightning Whip Liu Shi, and not only was he not troubled, but he also received excellent treatment and was assigned as a centurion in the new legion. Moreover, the other 9 centurions who joined the law enforcement bureau with him were going to receive training from the martial saint. Yang Shi was eager to try, because he had come here to seek the martial saint's advice on how to enter the next realm of martial arts cultivation. I just don't know what the relationship is between the martial saint, the law enforcement bureau, and the demonic path. This point made Yang Shi feel a little gloomy. If they were in cahoots. The training ground for the new army of the Law Enforcement Bureau was in the military camp in the capital city of Danai, heavily guarded and filled with a murderous atmosphere. Yang Shi couldn't associate this place with a demonic path at all. He followed the messenger into a small training ground, where an old man with a gray hair had his back to them and was looking up at the sky. He looked unremarkable on the surface, but every hair on Yang Shi's body stood on end. It was him. This person was the martial saint. An endless sense of crisis enveloped Yang Shi. He seemed to see the bloody scene of the cat-like Taoist unleashing his power. His muscles involuntarily hardened to their optimal state, ready to face any powerful enemy. This was his body's instinct. A gray mist flashed in Yang Shi's eyes, and wisps of invisible energy materialized. Divine ability, energy lock on. He could lock onto an enemy's energy, allowing him to pursue them from a distance. He could also see and lock onto other people's energy, which was remarkably effective in evading some cultivators' spells. This was a talent-based divine ability he had acquired from a high-level canine demon beast. At this moment, he saw an energy 10 times thicker than his own swirling above the white-haired old man's head. The white-haired old man's energy seemed to sense something and locked onto the 10 people behind him. Upon seeing this, the gray mist in Yang Shi's eyes vanished, and he forcibly suppressed the changes in his body, pretending nothing had happened. The other 9 grandmasters were genuinely unaffected, staring at the white-haired old man with curiosity, seemingly wanting to see who this renowned but unseen martial saint was and what made him so extraordinary. Only Yang Shi knew that this martial saint's cultivation had reached a level he couldn't comprehend, definitely exceeding the realm of grandmasters. A martial saint, rumored to be over 100 years old, yet his strength is still so formidable. It's important to understand that martial arts practitioners aren't like immortal cultivators, where the longer they cultivate, the stronger they become. They have a physical peak, generally declining after age 60. Therefore, the 49-year-old Yang Shi was eager to seek a breakthrough. Waiting another 10 years might mean missing his chance. Yet, the mere scattered aura of the over 100-year-old martial saint made him feel as if he were facing a formidable enemy, completely defying the common sense of the martial arts world. The martial saint looked back at the 10 martial artists, seemingly trying to find the faint wisp of energy he had just sensed. The messenger reported, "Lord Martial Saint, the 10 innate grandmasters of the Immortal Extermination Legion have arrived." The martial saint replied calmly, and the messenger departed swiftly. The martial saint's hair was gray, and he appeared somewhat aged, but his expression held the composure of a grandmaster. The 10 innate grandmasters dared not underestimate him and bowed in unison. "Greetings, Lord Martial Saint." The martial saint hummed again, then asked, "How many years have you been innate grandmasters?" 10 years, more than 20 years. This junior is foolish. I only entered the innate grandmaster realm last year. Upon arriving at Yang Shi, he said, 16 years. 16 years had passed since Bai Hei's death. The martial saint continued, "Do you think innate grandmasters have reached the limits of martial arts?" His demeanor was serene, as approachable as an elder, unconsciously calming everyone's hearts, and they began to speak. All the energy channels in your body are open, and your essence, energy, and spirit are united. This is the highest realm of martial arts cultivation. After reaching the innate grandmaster level, physical progress slows down, You can only seek breakthroughs through martial arts. I once helped several immortals of the Yang Shi sect exorcise demons and obtained 2 grade 1 immortal pills. After consuming them, my strength greatly increased, but beyond that, it's difficult to make further progress. Could it be that the martial saint can guide us to break through our limits? A clever innate grandmaster asked cautiously. Rumors circulated that the martial saint's realm might have already surpassed that of the innate grandmaster. Yang Shi also looked at the martial saint expectantly. The martial saint nodded slightly. Yes, martial arts and immortal pills are both avenues for your breakthroughs. This is a mental cultivation method I created myself. You can cultivate it on your own. If you can reach its peak, you will advance further. A book appeared out of thin air in his hand, the Mind Clarity Manual. It really is this book, Yang Shi thought, as he was learning the mental cultivation method created by the martial saint. Furthermore, upon joining the Immortal Extermination Legion, each of you will receive a royally supplied elixir. Combined with cultivation techniques, this will significantly improve your abilities in a short time. The eyes of all the innate grandmasters lit up upon hearing about the elixir. This was no easy feat. Even among mortal martial arts cultivators, innate grandmasters, without being part of the cultivator ranks, struggled to earn spirit stones, let alone afford elixir. Some innate grandmasters had never even tasted a marrow cleansing pill, which cost 20 spirit stones each. As for the martial saints' cultivation techniques, they required even more careful study. Such excellent treatment upon joining the Legion overjoyed these innate grandmasters. This was far better than they had imagined. Martial saint, if we do this, will we be as powerful as you in the future? I will teach you some more techniques then. How far you go depends on yourselves. Go and cultivate your cultivation techniques. The martial saint waved his hand, and the 10 people left the training ground. The brief meeting ended, and the martial saint seemed to have little intention of teaching them. It was merely a perfunctory gesture. No. The martial saint's words are completely unbelievable. It's impossible to reach his level. There must be something else he hasn't taught them. Yang Shi and Liu Wuhan both cultivate the Mingxinju and consume elixirs, but they can only surpass other innate grandmasters, far from reaching the martial saint's level. Could it be that only after they have a foundation can they be taught the method to become a transcendent realm expert? How long will I have to wait for them? Yang Shi was certain at first glance that the martial saint was definitely a transcendent realm expert. Besides sensing his aura, there was also the character card given by the ancestor name, Martial Saint Identity, Instructor of the Law Enforcement Department of the Donai Dynasty, the #1 martial artist in the Donai Dynasty lifespan. 109/150 Realm, Divine Realm Spiritual Root, None Comprehension. 60 Luck. 20 Talents, Enlightened Mind and Intelligence, Heavenly Level, Martial Arts Prodigy, Earthly Level, Intelligent Person, Mortal Level, Dragon Tiger Might, Mortal Level, Skills, Enlightened Mind Technique, Mastery, Visualization Technique, Mastery, Falling Flower Sword Technique, Mastery, Profound True Sword Technique, Mastery, Azure Cloud Sword, Mastery, Traceless Sword Technique, Mastery, Divine Powers, 9 Transformations of Cloud Dragon. Key Sword. His character card proved that he was a master of the Divine Realm. Although he only had 2 divine powers, Yang Shi felt that he would die on the spot if he could not withstand more than a few moves. Yang Shi was a little troubled, wondering when the martial saint would be able to teach them the abilities that could truly advance them to the Divine Realm. Late at night, 3 knocks came from the tent. Follow me, I'm stuck in writer's block. That's all for today. I owe 6 chapters. Chapter 127 Innate Spiritual Object, the Remnant Soul of an Ancient Sword. Martial Saint, Yang Shi was startled instinctively, then quietly slipped out of his tent. He followed a white figure, circling out of the military camp and arriving at a forest on the outskirts of the city. The two stopped, and the martial saint turned around and scrutinized him for a moment. You are Yang Shi, Liu Wuhan's disciple. Yang Shi was startled again, but after a moment's thought, he didn't deny it. Yes, my master is Liu Wuhan. How did you recognize me? Your true key? Oh, they both cultivated the Mingxinju, and it was the martial saint's own self-created internal energy cultivation method, so naturally he could recognize him. 2 years ago, I met your master. He told me he had taken in a disciple with extraordinary talent, whose aptitude was similar to mine. Seeing it today, Wuhan's words are true. Was that you who locked onto my key during the day? Yes, it was me, but your key is more than 10 times stronger than mine, Yang Shi said humbly. Because you haven't yet reached the level of divine insight, where one's energy surges like a tidal wave. Senior Martial Saint, could you impart the method of divine insight to Yang Shi? Yang Shi knelt down, performing the apprenticeship ceremony. The Martial Saint stroked his beard and chuckled. Do you know what your master's first action was upon seeing me? What? How is my master? Yang Shi hadn't heard from his master in a long time. Over 10 years had passed. He begged me to teach you my skills if I ever saw you again. That's why I called you out late at night. Yang Shi was overjoyed and kowtowed, saying, thank you for your guidance, master. Get up. Even if your master hadn't said anything, I still need to find someone to pass on my mantle. In the Danai dynasty, and even in the neighboring Liang dynasty, I haven't seen anyone more suitable to inherit my mantle than you. The Martial Saint smiled, seemingly very satisfied with Yang Shi's aptitude. Yang Genshuo smiled in front of the screen. Perhaps this is the mutual respect among top martial artists. Judging from the daytime, the Martial Saint is not a pedantic person. Although Yang Genshuo did not know the Martial Saint's deeds, he had extremely high talent, a sincere heart for martial arts, and his martial arts were extremely orthodox. He figured the person couldn't be too bad. Unlike that demonic cultivator, whose techniques had almost nothing of substance. Your physical condition is different from those 9. I see your physical body has already reached the limit of a grandmaster of the innate realm. What you lack is the method of sudden enlightenment. Today, I will teach you what it means to reach the divine realm. In the path of martial arts, body refinement and ki cultivation are fundamental, but most people forget this. Advancing to the grandmaster of the innate realm is the result of the unity of essence, ki, and spirit. Without cultivating the spirit, the body is like a bucket missing a plank. It reaches a certain height but cannot progress any further. Martial arts practitioners generally believe that cultivating divine sense is something only cultivators can do, something learned only from immortal cultivation techniques. But humans are born with divine sense, and we martial artists can also cultivate it. I have studied hundreds of immortal cultivation techniques in various sects, and from them I found a channel for cultivators to cultivate divine sense. Then I explored a different path, creating a technique for martial arts practitioners to cultivate divine sense. I named it, the art of visualization. After the physical body reaches its peak, visualize divine objects to cultivate divine sense. When divine sense breaks through, one can integrate all the knowledge learned in a lifetime into divine power, transcending the grandmaster of the innate realm, and thus advancing to the divine realm. Wow, it can even be done like this. Yang Genshuo and Yang Shi were both stunned. This martial saint truly lives up to his reputation as a genius. He actually created everything out of nothing. But this name seems familiar. I wonder if it's the same one. Yang Genshuo searched online and found various accounts of visualization techniques, with no unified conclusion. Judging from the martial saint's later statements, it was clearly unrelated to the cultivation world Yang Shi inhabited. His idea of instantly becoming a saint by sending him some top-tier visualization diagram had failed. Master, how should I visualize? Yang Shi couldn't wait to train his divine sense. He knew this was his future path. It was crystal clear. The martial saint said unhurriedly, cultivating visualization techniques requires 2 aspects. One is the mental method, which I can teach you. The other is a divine object. A divine object, Yang Shi repeated, somewhat puzzled. Cultivators call them foundation establishment spiritual objects. Innate spiritual objects needed to break through to the foundation establishment stage. They often contain some kind of power of heaven and earth. We martial cultivators can use the method of visualizing divine objects to comprehend heaven and earth, train our divine sense, and thus condense our own supernatural abilities. By the way, the choice of this divine object will also affect your future supernatural abilities. Yang Shi gasped after hearing this. Foundation establishment spiritual objects. These are things that you can't buy even with spirit stones in the Shi sect. The reason there are so few foundation establishment cultivators now is because many disciples at the great perfection of ki refining haven't found their own foundation establishment spiritual objects and are thus stuck in the ki refining stage. A foundation establishment spiritual object can sell for over 50,000 low-grade spirit stones in Zuanbao town. But there's no market for them. Although the Yang family is quite wealthy, they would have to sell all the fasting cakes they've saved up over the past 10 years to buy a foundation establishment spiritual object. The conditions are so harsh, no wonder no one has succeeded. How could crude martial artists possibly have the chance to come into contact with such a rare item that even cultivators would fight tooth and nail for? Even if they did, they couldn't afford it. This thing isn't like innate spiritual energy, which is produced periodically in spiritually nurturing lands. It's just that the quality varies depending on the year. Foundation establishment spiritual items are all about spiritual energy, and only those with the right affinity can obtain them. Yang Genshuo felt that Yang Shi would have to work hard to find a foundation establishment spiritual item. Don't think the conditions are difficult, because we martial artists only visualize, not possess. A divine item can be passed down as a sect treasure, and generations of disciples can visualize it. Oh, that's good. Otherwise, with 4 gold devouring beasts waiting at home, Yang Shi would have a terrible headache. At least now he could share one with Yang Fujian, and he only needed to find 3 for Yang Fu, Yang Fushuo, and Yang Fuking. Thinking of this, the smile on Yang Shi's face completely disappeared. He realized just how heavy the responsibility on the shoulders of a cultivator's family head truly was. Seeing Yang Shi's troubled expression, the martial saint didn't continue to scare him. The divine artifact I used to achieve the divine realm is perfect for you to use. The ring on his hand flickered slightly, and a broken wooden sword appeared in his hand. It seemed ordinary, like trash found anywhere on the roadside, but a mysterious aura emanated from the broken end. Gray mist filled Yang Shi's eyes, and the energy of heaven and earth appeared before him. This broken sword was condensed with countless extremely complex energies, seemingly containing some kind of great Dao of heaven and earth, making his vision dizzy after looking at it for a moment. Yang Genshuo quickly opened the information on this broken sword: ancient sword, remnant soul, innate spiritual object attribute, metal, an ordinary broken wooden sword, which gradually transformed into an innate spiritual object due to the presence of a wisp of divine thought from a powerful being. This thing should be a foundation establishment artifact suitable for metal element cultivators. What a treasure! Yang Shi's newly recognized master is really generous. However, Yang Shi is both Liu Wuheng's disciple and the martial saint's disciple. How should we address each other from now on? Each of us should address the other. I'll call you master, and you call me junior brother. While Yang Genshuo was lost in thought, the martial saint was explaining the divine object to Yang Shi. This divine object is called the remnant soul of the ancient sword. It's a treasure I've contemplated for decades. It seems to contain a wisp of the remnant spirit of a great cultivator, encompassing the supreme sword path. My divine ability, Key Sword, was derived from it. Today, I'll give you the remnant soul of the ancient sword for your contemplation. After receiving it, Yang Shi bowed and said, "Thank you, Master, for bestowing this treasure. I will return it to you after I successfully contemplate it. I will now teach you the mental cultivation method of the contemplation technique." Chapter 128. After you leave this door, don't call me Master. After receiving the martial saint's teachings, Yang Shi practiced meditation daily, sensing his own divine sense and vaguely being able to mobilize a trace of its power. If I could fully control my divine sense, I could use storage magic treasures like cultivators, Yang Shi thought, envying the convenient storage magic treasures of cultivators. Otherwise, all his talismans and tools would have to be carried by the giant winged bat, making searching a hassle. He lacked the ease of a Batman in the cultivation world. Half a month passed in a flash, and it was time for Yang Shi and Ding Zhen to meet. The rules of the Great Nile Law Enforcement Bureau weren't so rigid for the 100 sects, and with the martial saint's help, he took a few days off to visit his family, returning to the mortal town where he and Ding Zhen were healing. 2 days passed, but Ding Zhen still hadn't arrived. Yang Shi frowned slightly. Could something have happened? Logically speaking, judging from the recent rumors, Senior Brother Ding's news should have already been brought back to the Xuanxi sect. There shouldn't be any problems, right? He's connected to both the legitimate and illegitimate worlds. Could it be that the Law Enforcement Bureau intercepted him? That doesn't make sense either. My thunderclap sword didn't sense Senior Brother Ding's distress call. This is very unusual. Yang Shi even felt he should go to the Xuanxi sect to check. Suddenly, a small bluebird flew down from the sky and landed in the courtyard where they were resting. Yang Shi took out a note from under the bird's feet. Brother Yang Shi, this meeting is cancelled. Something came up on my end, and I can't make it. My plan is going smoothly. We'll meet again another day after I've dealt with this unfortunate matter. I really should have listened to Senior Sister Murin. In short, I regret it now. I regret it very much. Remember, unless it's something life-threatening, never look for the Thunder Peak Master. It will bring bad luck. Really? Seeing Ding Zhen's words and familiar aura, Yang Shi was somewhat puzzled. What ominous sign? Why didn't senior sister Muring and senior brother Ding explain things clearly? Cultivators are truly mysterious. Yang Shi shook his head and returned to the Law Enforcement Division's military camp. As long as he knew Ding Zhen was alright for the time being, that was enough. He needed to practice his visualization technique now, so he couldn't join Ding Zhen in exterminating demons for the time being. Yang Shi was excited about practicing, but for Yang Genshuo, it was incredibly tedious. Why not take some pills? Martial arts cultivation is too troublesome. Yang Fushuo, quickly refine an elixir that can directly lead to immortality for our ancestor. Yang Genshuo looked at Yang Fushuo. This kid was indeed refining pills, but due to his cultivation level, he could only refine first-grade pills at present. He couldn't maintain second-grade pills. He had already learned all the first-grade pills of the Danhero sect, and added a little bit of his own Yang family flavor, making them even more agile. Of course, this was Yang Fushuo's own opinion. Everyone in the sect unanimously thought his pills were flawed. Eating it would bring bad luck. He needed to be missing something. Yang Genshuo glanced at the other family members. They were all busy with their own things, and there was nothing he needed to pay attention to for the time being. Let's do our own thing. He had originally planned to get some American-style Iaijutsu equipment for Yang Shi a couple of days ago, but after seeing the martial saint teaching Yang Shi, he immediately abandoned the idea. American-style Iaijutsu combined with talismans can only bully key refining stage cultivators. It's completely useless at the martial saint level. Yang Shi should just focus on practicing martial arts. High-powered equipment was hard for Yang Shi to obtain, so he decided to forego American-style Iaijutsu for now. Returning to the essence of martial arts cultivation, if physical explosive speed could break the speed of sound, what was there to fear from bullets? Xiao Zhi's pole dance last time was really impressive. When can he do a comeback? Thinking this, Yang Genshuo took a stroll around the Immortal Key Food Factory, looking with satisfaction at the normally operating assembly line and the more than 30 workers. Not bad, it has that capitalist vibe. This is much better than opening a shop. When they opened the board game shop, he and Guo Xiaozi, one the chairman and the other the CEO, did everything, truly working like oxen and horses. Yang Genshuo, with his tablet, kept a constant remote view of the Yang family's situation and invited Chengbo out for a foot massage. Really? Godfather, of course, my good son, I'm going right now. After the massage, Chengbo exclaimed, the way of life lies in this balance of tension and relaxation. It's truly a top-tier enjoyment, foot massage, so refreshing. I'm going back to the lab to continue working. Chengbo, as a model of clear-headedness by Yang Genshuo's side, didn't marry or have children, often getting foot massages, wholeheartedly pursuing what he loved, living a very carefree life. Damn. We were all laughing at Daoyu, but now we know that Daoyu is actually the version's chosen one, a master at countering the version's top-tier characters. Daoyu earns so much money and spends it all on himself, it's going to drive some people crazy. Yang Genshuo relaxed for half a day, and half a year had passed in the game. Before the ancestral worship ceremony, Yang Shi's visualization technique finally broke through to the beginner level. Yang Shi has successfully entered the first level of the visualization technique, recording the image of the innate spiritual object, broken sword and remnant soul, which he can visualize independently. He has also reached the new realm of divine connection realm, increasing his family's martial arts knowledge and boosting their incense offerings by 100. Yang Shi's realm has been updated to 10th level of innate grandmaster. At this moment, Yang Shi's divine sense entered his storage ring, easily retrieving a spirit stone. The storage rings of the Bloodhand Taoist and his demonic cultivator senior brother could finally be opened. Yang Shi was examining his spoils. There were 2,101 low-grade spirit stones, 54 key cultivation pills, 29 spirit recovery pills, 4 second-grade life-extending pills, 5 various demonic artifacts, several talismans, and a piece of white spirit jade. Under the light, one could see the 5-colored aura flowing within the spirit jade. The aura emanating from it gave Yang Shi a sense of familiarity. He activated his divine power and exclaimed, hiss. A foundation establishment spiritual object. Yang Genshuo had just returned to his study when he saw this radiant object. Let me see what's going on. 5-element spirit pendant, innate spiritual object, attributes, metal, wood, water, fire, earth, a jade pendant nurtured by heaven and earth, possessing the 5 elements attributes, with a warm and gentle aura, capable of helping cultivators who cultivate any of the 5 elements establish their foundation. Holy crap! Isn't this tailor-made for Yang Fu? With this, Yang Fu can directly establish his foundation. I was worried about whether I could get Yang Fu 5 foundation establishing spiritual objects, but now it seems hard to say. Being able to use 5 foundation establishing spiritual objects is also part of strength, so we can keep them for Yang Fu for now. Seeing the ancestors' hint, Yang Shi didn't expect to find such a rare foundation establishing spiritual object in a demonic cultivator's stored ring. However, that demonic cultivator is at the great perfection of key refining. Perhaps it was prepared for foundation establishment. These foundation establishing spiritual objects are usually prepared by sect elders for their disciples. Otherwise, with a great perfection of key refining cultivation, let alone whether they could find one, even if they did, how could they compete with a group of foundation establishing cultivators? According to Ding Zhen, his foundation establishment artifact was given to him by Murin Ziyan, originally intended for Bai Heiyu. Yang Shi had struck gold this time. Moreover, after successfully mastering the visualization technique, he no longer needed to hold the ancient sword's remnant soul for daily visualization. His divine sense had recorded it, allowing him to visualize it at any time. If he could visualize it to a certain level and develop his own divine abilities, he would enter the divine realm. Late at night in the suburbs, Martial Saint and Yang Shi stood under the moonlight. "Master, I'm leaving. I came here to become your disciple, not because I yearn for the Law Enforcement Bureau. I know, Master, there's something I've always wanted to ask you. Do you know what the Law Enforcement Bureau is hiding?" Upon hearing this, a hint of reminiscence flashed in Martial Saint's eyes. "So what if I know? So what if I don't? I was raised by the Legal Affairs Department. I'm getting old, it's time to pay back the debts of the past, Master, but, after you leave this gate, don't call me Master anymore, pursue your martial arts diligently. My mind clarity technique and visualization technique can be passed on to others. What realms lie beyond the divine power realm is for you to explore. We martial artists should never be weaker than immortals." The Martial Saint's eyes were resolute as he watched Yang Shi's departing figure, as if he saw another version of himself. Time flowed quickly. "I am Short Monster. Today I was on duty at work. There was a dismemberment case. It was quite a busy day. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels." Chapter 129 Tempering the Body with Lightning Tribulation. Seeing Yang Shi and the Martial Saint part ways, Yang Genshuo felt a pang of sadness. Who knows what their stance will be next time they meet. We were master and disciple. I hope we won't turn against each other. Through these days of instruction, Yang Genshuo had gradually learned some knowledge about the divine realm. His overall strength had definitely increased dramatically, but that wasn't his biggest concern. His biggest concern was lifespan. A martial saint in the divine realm only lives to be 150 years old? His peak is too short. In another 40 years, the martial saint will be nothing but dust. No wonder he was so eager to impart everything about the divine realm to Yang Shi. The lifespan of martial artists was far shorter than that of immortal cultivators. The lifespans of Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo, those two young men, both exceeded his. A key refining stage cultivator had a guaranteed lifespan of at least 200 years. Even if a martial saint could easily suppress a key refining cultivator, it would only be 150 years old. Therefore, all other pursuits are inferior, only cultivation is superior. Yang Genshuo once again picked up his old argument, but this time he could look at it dialectically. Once a martial artist reached the divine transformation realm, they could also pose a threat to foundation establishment cultivators, and that was enough. Yang Fu, the Yang family's #1 genius, could only reach foundation establishment, becoming a powerful existence among foundation establishment cultivators. If Yang Fu Zhen could achieve the divine transformation realm in the future, he wouldn't be much inferior to Yang Fu. As for whether the Yang family would produce someone who surpassed the foundation establishment realm, it would depend on Yang Fushuo. It was hard to say about Yang Fuking. Her talent for communicating with spirit beasts wouldn't bring any bonus to cultivation, while Yang Fushuo's talent could steadily raise the upper limit of fire cultivation. Moreover, Yang Fushuo's excellent alchemy ability, when using the alchemy furnace normally, could refine enough first-grade pills for the daily use of the Yang family. As the favorite little disciple of Li Zuang, The peak master of the medicine garden peak, he never lacked alchemy materials. Pills are an indispensable aid on the path of cultivation. Yang Shi is self-sufficient, and his growth rate is much faster than that of ordinary cultivators. After analyzing the situation, Yang Genshuo felt that the Yang family still had great potential. Yang Shi's 4 children all have their own strengths. If they continue to expand their resources, the family's strength will steadily increase. Not bad, not bad, keep it up. Yang Shi, who is now 50 years old and past the age of 30, began his cultivation to break through to the divine power realm. He did not return to the Yang family in the Liang dynasty, but instead found a place to settle down in the Dani dynasty. He cultivated during the day and fought against demonic cultivators at night. With a thunderclap sword enhancing his half-step divine power realm body, Yang Shi was invincible among those below the foundation establishment stage. Time continued to advance rapidly. Year 33, rumors of 2 Thunder Immortal Venerables circulated in the Dani dynasty. Demonic cultivators dared not travel at night. The demonic cult leader Ding Zhen angrily denounced this cowardly act. It damaged the face of demonic cultivators, and he called on everyone to join forces to punish the Thunder Immortal Venerables. Chu Qiao, a disciple who had been missing for many years, returned to the Xuanxi sect, remaining silent about what had happened before. Yang Fu found a technique called Soul Imprint Beast Taming Technique for his younger sister, Yang Fuqing. Yang Fuqing's cultivation method suited her talent, and her progress accelerated. She occasionally returned to the Demon Wind Forest to play with her spirit beast companions. Yang Fuqing broke through to the 6th level of the fetal breathing realm. Incense offerings increased by 10. Yang Shi, due to limitations in his strength, was unable to refine second-grade pills. He began to study his own spiritual cuisine again. After his master tasted it, he was confined for half a year. Yang Fuzhen mastered the mind clarity technique, reaching the 6th level of body tempering. Benefiting from his talent martial arts prodigy, earth grade, his key cultivation speed was extremely fast. In the same year, he broke through to the 7th level of body tempering, receiving praise from the ancestor. He absorbed a demon beast, making him even stronger. Yang Fuzhen broke through his realm. Incense offerings increased by 20. The beggar cake found a market in the Danghero sect and Tenhero sect, earning a total of 7,000 low-grade spirit stones this year. Offerings: 300 jars of Starry Dream spirit wine, 7,000 caddies of spirit wheat, and various spirit fruits and meats. Resources were transferred to the Yang family through this reward. Year 34, the Great Nile Law Enforcement's Immortal Slaying Legion, personally led by the martial saint, is incredibly powerful. The Great Nai dynasty declares that the royal family will no longer need to pay offerings to the Xuanxi sect, and many local immortal clans have responded enthusiastically. The legend of the 2 Thunder Immortal Venerables continues. The demonic cult giant Ding Zhen is deeply troubled by this, discussing methods to defeat the Thunder Immortal Venerables with several Foundation establishment elders from Blood Soul Valley. However, the Thunder Immortal Venerables seem to anticipate this and always manage to evade it. The key refining cultivators of Blood Soul Valley live in the shadow of the 2 Thunder Immortal Venerables. Every day, Yang Shi advances to the 2nd level of key refining. The Yang family has produced its first cultivator at the 2nd level of key refining. His path to immortality is clear, and his incense offerings increased by 110. Yang Fuqing's strength steadily improved. She formed a soul imprint with her partner, the giant parrot Mao Mao, broke through to the 7th level of the fetal breathing realm, and her incense offerings increased by 10. Yang Fuzhen broke through to the 8th level of the body tempering realm, and his incense offerings increased by 10. Yang Fu felt something during his cultivation. Time fast-forwarded for 2 years, and a thundercloud slowly appeared on Yang Genshuo's screen. Yang Fu's tribulation has arrived. Yang Genshuo clicked his tongue twice, but he wasn't too worried, because he had told Yang Fu about his talent when he first advanced. Heaven jealous talent brought Yang Fu unparalleled cultivation speed, but it also meant that he would experience the tribulation of lightning at every minor stage of key refining. In the 3 years since his breakthrough, Yang Fu had accumulated many ways to deal with tribulations of lightning. Is it coming? Yang Fu looked at the sky. At this time, he was still in the True Fire sect, because the environment here could protect him and prevent him from being disturbed by other cultivators during his breakthrough. Moreover, Sect Master Fan Di had very high expectations for him. He focused intently on the tribulation lightning in the sky, softly muttering, "The intensity of this tribulation is about the same as when I advanced. If nothing unexpected happens, I can handle it. After his breakthrough, dealing with this tribulation lightning was no problem for him. Moreover, Yang Fu was naturally cautious and had prepared numerous methods, originally intending to deal with a tribulation lightning twice as strong as the last one. Now, this intensity. Lightning, come, Yang Fu raised his hands, and a thick five-element spiritual river surged forth from it, with wisps of lightning spiritual energy floating within. Fire shield, the thickest of the five elements, the fire spiritual river, expanded, transforming into thick flame spiritual shield around him. The other five-element spiritual energies were transformed into intense fire spiritual energy through the five-element spiritual river, continuously thickening the fire shield. Boom! The first lightning tribulation in the sky struck, but the fire shield withstood all its power without being completely damaged. Lightning flashed everywhere. Yang Fu's lips curled into a smile. He dispelled the fire shield, opened his arms, and embraced the lightning. Come, temper my body. The lightning tribulation transformed into pure lightning spiritual power, rushing into his body, helping him expand his meridians and danshan. The five-element spiritual river widened even further, and his physical body was rapidly improving. Yang Fu advances to the second level of the innate Grandmaster, cultivating both spiritual and martial arts. Incense offerings doubled, incense offerings plus 60. Good heavens, his physical body has actually advanced too. Yang Fu's path is so wide. You should know that Yang Fu's martial arts cultivation wasn't particularly diligent, but his advancement speed was by no means slow, at least not slower than Yang Shi's. This lightning tribulation is of great help to body tempering. Yang Fu relied on this lightning tribulation to refine his physical body, even more powerfully than taking pills. His physical body grew at an extremely fast speed under the tempering of the lightning tribulation. After one bolt of heavenly lightning, the blood energy on Yang Fu's body was even more vigorous. Boom. The second one. Boom. The third one. Yang Fu advances to the second level of the key refining stage, cultivating both spiritual and martial arts. Incense offerings doubled, incense offerings plus 60. The same lightning tribulation, which had nearly killed Yang Fu last time, was now easily handled. He absorbed the lightning's power as nourishment, significantly increasing both his physical and spiritual strength. I originally thought Yang Fu's talent would force him to endure 10 more lightning tribulations than others, greatly increasing his danger. I didn't expect this tribulation to be his best nourishment. After 10 lightning tribulations, Yang Fu's physical body will directly break through to the great perfection of the innate Grandmaster. At that time, foundation establishment and divine transformation will proceed simultaneously. This lightning tribulation, ironically, became Yang Fu's best helper in cultivating both martial and spiritual power. Meanwhile, the true fire sect disciples outside were stunned. Wait, another lightning tribulation? Could it be the same person? Did he make a promise to someone and get punished by heaven? Shen Yao, while recording the lightning tribulation with a recording stone, observed her surroundings and discovered that Yang Fu wasn't there this time. A bold guess formed in her mind. Could it be that junior brother Yang is afraid of lightning? Chapter 130 The battle for immortality is about to begin. Year 35, Yang Shi was surrounded by a legion led by a foundation establishment cultivator from the law enforcement division. Ding Zhen risked his life to rescue him, merging the thunderclap sword and its sheath to unleash the immortal slaughtering thunder sword formation to break the siege. Both escaped severely injured. Yang Shi returned to the Blazing Sun dynasty and spent half a year recuperating. Deeply impressed by the power of foundation establishment cultivators, he decided to enter seclusion until he reached the divine transformation realm. Yang Fuzhen broke through to the 9th level of the body tempering realm, but it seems he only realized a small portion of his potential. Incense offerings plus 10, Yang Fuking formed a new spirit beast and broke through to the 8th level of the fetal breathing realm. Incense offerings plus 10, year 36, a beautiful young woman arrived at the Spirit Lake Manor, looking for Yang Shi. She was chased away by the long-haired parrots. Yang Fuking learned of this and told Zhang Xiaobei. Zhang Xiaobei looked at Yang Shi in seclusion and shook his head. Yang Fuzhen broke through to the 10th level of the body tempering realm. His blood and ki were abundant, his energy was vigorous, and his consciousness was clear. Incense offerings plus 10, the ancestor rewarded Yang Fuzhen by allowing him to absorb 6 demonic beasts, gaining 2 mortal level talents. Yang Fuking forged another spirit beast, breaking through to the 9th level of the fetal breathing stage. Incense offerings plus 10, year 37, Yang Fushuo broke through to the 3rd level of ki refining. greatly increasing his strength, the first descendant of the Yang family to break through to the third level of key refining. His path to immortality is clear. Incense offerings plus 130. The immortal path competition of the Yunnan spiritual sect is about to begin. The Yunnan spiritual sect has dispatched envoys to the 12 major dynasties sects to guide the 120 prodigies participating in this competition. Sigh, still a little short. Yang Fu sensed the five-element spiritual river within his body. His water elemental power was still a little short of breaking through to the third level of key refining. He couldn't use the lightning turbulation to temper his body again before the time for the competition arrived. The cultivation speed of this five elements transporting technique is still too slow. If he had used a different cultivation method, Yang Fu would probably already be at the foundation establishment stage. But its foundation is so solid, it's far superior to any other cultivation method. I wonder which senior created such a method. Those with 5 spiritual roots are naturally slow at cultivation, their maximum potential in this lifetime being only the key refining stage. But the senior who created this method managed to cultivate 5 spiritual roots to the foundation establishment stage with 5 times the difficulty. Yang Fu felt this senior might be far more talented than himself. If I could advance to the third level of key refining like my younger brother, my chances would be much better. For Yang Fu, each advancement in a minor realm was a qualitative leap. Although Yang Fushuo had reached the third level of key refining earlier this year and improved his strength somewhat, he was still far from being able to participate in this immortal path competition. Most of his competitors were at the 9th or great perfection of key refining. At the very least, they wouldn't be lower than the 8th level of key refining, otherwise, there would be no point in participating. Yang Fushuo, having curried favor with the envoy of the upper sect, was designated to participate, occupying a spot for the Blazing Sun dynasty, allowing the Danhuo sect disciples and Zhenhuo sect disciples to reach an ideological consensus for the first time. Giving him a spot would be a pure waste. I can take his place. Wang Xin, in particular, felt like ants were crawling all over him when he saw Yang Fushuo's smug expression. Why? I was the one who entered the sect first. I was a genius alchemist before. This shouldn't be happening. He felt he could never escape Yang Fushuo's shadow. Faced with the slander from his fellow key refining stage disciples, Yang Fushuo humbly stated in public, "Everything I have achieved today is entirely due to my own efforts." Li Zhuoyang locked Yang Fushuo up in solitary confinement to prevent him from being beaten to death outside before the competition. However, he was also very worried about this. Fu Shuo, this immortal path competition is a battle of geniuses. Your current strength is a bit weak. Even if you were at the 8th level of key refining, I wouldn't worry about you losing your life, Master. Then why don't you give me more pills? For example, the Fire Cloud Spirit Aperture Pill, that can increase spiritual power by 30 years would be nice. A 3rd grade pill? You really dare to dream. Every 3rd grade pill is hard won. It's the foundation of the sect. How can I just give it away like that? Go ask the sect leader for it. Alright, I'll go ask old Deng to give me some pills. Yang Fushuo turned and left. Come back, Li Zhuoyang said angrily. You rebellious disciple, can't you understand your master's sarcastic remarks? However, old Deng's words are quite apt. Forget about 3rd grade pills. Haven't you already been able to refine 2nd grade pills recently? You can use any of the herbs in my warehouse these next few days. You can take any pills you refine as many as you can to save your life. Alright, I've been waiting for you to say that. I'm off. Watching Yang Fushuo go to his warehouse with a smug look on his face, Li Zhuoyang felt like he'd let a mouse into a rice pan. There are only 3 days left. How many can he refine even if he tries his best? Li Zhuoyang felt he was being a bit too sensitive. Although Yang Fushuo wasn't very reliable in alchemy and spiritual cuisine, he still knew his limits. Looking at his master's warehouse full of herbs, including rare, 100-year-old herbs that he'd never used before, Yang Fushuo's face lit up with joy. He usually used ordinary 1st-grade spiritual herbs, which he could freely pick on Medicine Garden Peak. This warehouse contained the real treasures of Medicine Garden Peak. Materials for 2nd-grade pills. What should I refine first? Yang Fushuo's mind flashed through the various 2nd-grade spirit pills recorded in the Danhuo sect. Burning Spirit True Fire Pill greatly enhances a cultivator's control over fire spiritual power, greatly increasing the power of fire-based spells. It's a pill specifically for strengthening fire cultivators, commonly known as the Lesser Fire Cloud Spirit Aperture Pill. I need to refine some of this. If we run out, I'll take one. It maintains a constant state and can raise 1 or 2 minor realms. Fiery eye golden penetration pill, an auxiliary pill that enhances a cultivator's divine sense, allowing them to perceive spiritual power fluctuations from a greater distance and see the weaknesses of an opponent's spells. I need this too. A must-have pill, blazing sun ice breaking pill, specifically for dealing with water cultivators who counter you, preventing being countered. Give me some of this too. Give me some of the others. They all seem useful. Yang Shi waved his hand, and spiritual energy swept away a stack of spirit herbs. He then kneaded the pills with his bare hands at the warehouse entrance. A stream of dark blue spiritual energy gushed out. Flame of life. Growth. These century-old spiritual herbs were catalyzed and stimulated, regenerating in the flames and increasing their quality by half. Then they were refined by the flames, gradually condensing into pills and spiritual liquid. Some second-grade spiritual herbs, already nearly 500 years old and already third grade, were revitalized by the flame of life and directly grew into third-grade spiritual herbs. Yang Shi pondered for a moment and began refining. Anyway, it's all the same formula. At most the effect will be a little stronger. There shouldn't be any problems, right? Refining pills with bare hands was Yang Shi's forte. He was most comfortable using liquefied natural gas, even finding a sense of preparing spiritual cuisine. This is the ultimate enjoyment for an alchemist. Yang Shi stood guard at his master's warehouse, refining pills. After refining all the second-grade pill formulas, he still wasn't satisfied. He randomly picked up a few spiritual herbs based on his intuition and started refining them. Although he didn't know what their effects would be, they all turned into pills. Yang Shi casually put them into his stored ring. If only Hash were here, he could test the pills for me. The ancestor might be able to explain the effects of some pills, but to determine their exact power, someone had to test them, preferably someone of similar cultivation. It's a pity there's no time. It's all Master's fault. If he had opened the warehouse earlier, I wouldn't be in such a rush. Li Zhuang's face darkened after hearing Yang Shi's complaint. If I had opened it earlier, you would have devoured all the second-grade spiritual herbs in this warehouse. By the way, for this immortal path competition, each participating disciple can bring one person to accompany you and help with chores outside of the competition. Do you have a favorite fellow disciple? I can bring someone. It has to be junior brother Wang Sheng. We're super close. Chapter 131 Departure. What? Yang Shi is taking me? Wang Sheng was completely stunned when he learned that Yang Shi was going to take him to the immortal path competition. He had badmouthed Yang Shi countless times, in public no less. It was already a testament to Yang Shi's high moral character that he didn't secretly cause him trouble. And now, he was taking him to the immortal path competition? Although he was only accompanying Yang Shi and couldn't participate, witnessing the grandeur of a top sect was still extremely valuable. Watching the prodigies battle would greatly benefit his future cultivation. If Yang Shi simply announced it, countless disciples of the Danhero sect would be willing to serve him faithfully. And he hadn't done anything, yet he had gotten this spot for nothing. Why, does Yang Shi still consider me a friend, eh? I was blinded by jealousy, neglecting the bonds between fellow disciples. That day, Wang Sheng wept bitterly in his residence. He knew he had utterly lost. Not only had he lost in alchemy, but he had also been completely defeated by Yang Shi in his Dao heart. Although Yang Shi is arrogant, his heart is kind. At this moment, he recalled the dusk of the day he entered the sect. Wasn't this the kind of camaraderie he longed for back then? Wang Sheng took a deep breath, hurriedly packed his things, took all the supplies, and even brought out his most treasured pills. The next day, when boarding the spaceship, Wang Sheng looked at Yang Shi earnestly. I will do everything in my power to assist you. Help you achieve a higher ranking. Yang Shi looked at Wang Sheng's drastically changed demeanor with surprise. Why are you suddenly being so mushy? Eat this pill first. Wang Sheng swallowed it in one gulp. At this moment, he had no reason to doubt Yang Shi. He wanted to repay Yang Shi's trust with absolute trust. By the way, what are the effects of this pill, senior brother? I don't know. I wonder what senior brother means by this. Wang Sheng vaguely felt something was amiss. I just don't know. Yang Shi looked confident. Then why are you so confident, senior brother? I'm confident this thing is a elixir. It'll definitely benefit you. Just feel it slowly. Wang Sheng felt a surge of fire spiritual energy being drawn out of his body, as if he were about to split in two. I'm cracking. At this moment, Wang Sheng felt that things might not be quite as he had imagined. Wait? Let's wait until the other senior brothers are on board before we go. Don't you know what etiquette is? Shen Yao grabbed Jiang Fu, who wanted to board the ship, and insisted on waiting until all the other inner sect disciples had gone in before daring to let him leave. This left Yang Fu both amused and exasperated. You don't understand. This is the most basic hierarchy. Come, let me teach you how to be a proper companion. First, the more capable senior brothers and sisters should go first, and we should lag behind by half a step. As long as we don't overstep the bounds, we can help them with chores whenever needed. Also, when you see a door, you should take the initiative to run a few steps to open it for the senior brothers and sisters, let them go in first, and then follow them in. In addition, you must find out the senior brothers and sisters' eating preferences in advance, prepare the food, and wait for them to start eating before you can start. There are even more rules when toasting. The glass should be lowered by half a step. Listening to Shen Yao's nagging instruction, Yang Fu didn't find it annoying at all, but just smiled and found it quite interesting. What are you laughing at? We don't even know which senior brother or sister took a liking to us, and suddenly they let us go along. This is a tremendous opportunity, not just anyone can get it. Later, we'll go ask each senior brother and sister, and everyone do their job, understand? But, why do those two senior brothers and one senior sister already have accompanying disciples? Who are we going to accompany? Shen Yao, as the true fire sex gossip queen, knew the inner disciples like the back of her hand. There wasn't a single person in front of her that she didn't recognize. The two senior brothers at the 9th level of key refining and the senior sister at the great perfection of key refining were all true fire sex prodigies, already famous for a long time. The other 3 disciples were also in the inner sect of the key refining stage, but their strength was slightly weaker. She felt like she and Yang Fu were superfluous. Yang Fu was already laughing uncontrollably at this point and stopped teasing her. Is it possible that the other person participating in the immortal path competition is between the two of us? Shen Yao shook her head. I didn't receive a competition notice. Yang Fu, PFFT. Yang Genshuo was so amused by these two clowns that he choked on his food. What plain-looking girl, a mere key refining level 1 cultivator, looking down on my Yang Fu like that. Alright, Yang Fu will have plenty of fun after marrying Shen Yao. Yang Genshuo felt that the two of them were becoming more and more like a married couple, perfectly matched in every way. However, thinking of Shen Yao's unremarkable 5 elemental root aptitude, he helplessly pursed his lips. Sigh. My Yang family's #1 genius didn't even find a Taoist partner with 3 or 2 spiritual roots. I'm afraid the spiritual roots of our descendants won't be very good either. Why don't you win over the senior sister who's competing with you this time? She's a noble 3 elemental root cultivator. Based on Yang Genshuo's keen observation of the 3 major sects, he discovered another point. Children whose parents have good spiritual root aptitude usually also have excellent spiritual root aptitude. Therefore, it's best for the Yang family's descendants to find cultivators with good spiritual root aptitude to become Taoist partners, so that the aptitude of the Yang family's descendants will continue to improve. Winning at the starting line from birth. But this couple is really sweet. I've been following them for years. I'd better not interfere. It's really rare to find someone who doesn't mind your poverty or your ordinary cultivation level. Cultivators also admire strength, and female cultivators often yearn for stronger male cultivators. Yang Genshuo thought of his previous terrible relationship and suddenly felt a pang of envy for the pure love between Yang Fu and Shen Yao. It seems the spiritual root optimization plan will have to start with Yang Fushuo. This kid should find a heavenly spiritual root elder sister. However, after looking at character cards for so many years, Yang Genshuo hadn't seen another heavenly spiritual root cultivator besides Murin Zilian, making them extremely rare. I wonder if I'll be able to see senior sister again at the cloud-hidden spiritual sect this time. The true fire sect and the pill fire sect both belonged to the blazing sun dynasty. There were 10 participating disciples, 10 accompanying disciples, and 2 team leaders, a total of 22 people, who flew out of the blazing sun dynasty on a spaceship. Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo smiled at each other on the deck, their understanding unspoken. You're still laughing. You still haven't figured out how we got up here. Wait? You wouldn't mean. Shen Yao seemed to have thought of an impossible answer and covered her mouth. Yang Fu's lips curled into a smile, gesturing for her to speak. Shen Yao exclaimed softly, you wouldn't have secretly brought me up here under my name, would you? Thud. Yang Fu slammed his head against the deck. looking utterly helpless. Not long after they left, a strange sound came from the secluded cultivation area within the Yang family manor. Third update today. Chapter 132 Yang Shi emerges from seclusion. Crack. 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 The secluded cave in the Yang family manor emitted a series of cracking sounds, as if it were about to split open. Yang Fujian, who was practicing swordsmanship at home, heard the noise and lightly leaped to the outside of the cave. Yang Fujian was 15 years old this year, tall and strong, with handsome features and a youthful, chivalrous air. Most importantly, his body was full of vitality, and his features were prominent, clearly indicating that he had reached a very high level of martial arts. Half-step into the innate realm. Yang Shi was still begging at his age, while Yang Fujian was already aiming to become a grandmaster of the innate realm. This was not only a difference in talent, but more importantly, the resources the Yang family could now provide for him far exceeded those of Yang Shi. The difference in their resources was like heaven and earth. He touched the cracks in the wall, carefully sensing the energy within, but he couldn't sense anything. "Father," he called softly. But there was no response, and the thick cave wall developed countless more cracks, as if it itself was splitting apart. Yang Fujian took a few steps back, a strange look in his eyes. "Why is this happening? I didn't feel the mountain wall being hit, so how could it crack?" But then he thought, Yang Shi was in seclusion. Could it be? Father has succeeded. Yes. Yang Shi stroked Yang Fujian's head, his face full of satisfaction. "You've grown taller again, almost a grandmaster of the innate realm, stronger than your father." Yang Fujian turned his head and looked at Yang Shi, who appeared behind him like a ghost, overjoyed. "Father, your lightness skill is amazing. Teach me." "How? This isn't lightness skill, it's a supernatural power." Yang Shi took a step forward, his body shrinking into the ground, and then reappeared 10 meters away, as if he had teleported across space. "A supernatural power? I want to learn too." "Then it depends on your comprehension. Let's go. This place is about to collapse." Yang Shi picked up Yang Fujian, leaped forward a few times, his body floating away like a feather, and then, rumble. Yang Shi's secluded mountain cave collapsed with a crash, and streaks of sword energy shot out from the rocks, soaring into the sky. Yang Fujian was stunned. "What kind of sword technique is this? Heart sword?" Yang Shi smiled slightly, and all the sword energy vanished instantly, as if the sword energy just now was an illusion. But the collapsed cave ruins proved to Yang Fujian that this was not an illusion. "Heart sword. Heart sword," Yang Fujian murmured, closing his eyes. The next moment, a wisp of transparent sword energy appeared from his hand. Swoosh! The sword energy pierced through the stone and then disappeared. "Father. Is that so?" Yang Shi, watching his youngest son casually imitate the divine ability he had spent 2.5 years comprehending, although it was very immature, it was still somewhat similar to cultivator's sword control technique. Yang Shi was a little unsure how to evaluate it. "Ha. Why are you showing off to him? Don't you even look at Yang Fujian's talent?" Yang Genshuo laughed. Yang Shi had just broken through to the divine realm, which increased his incense offering by 500. And he had comprehended his own divine ability, heart sword. As a result, Yang Fujian only looked at it once and directly imitated a low-level heart sword. Yang Shi was completely baffled. "Do you know why I said Yang Fujian has sword talent? Because of his 3 earth-level talents. The first one is, Born Sword Maniac, Earth level, sword practice speed plus 100%, photographic memory for sword techniques, significantly increased overall strength when using a sword." "What do you, a fun person, know about swordsmanship?" Yang Fujian could even imitate supernatural abilities after seeing them only once. Speaking of Yang Fujian, although Yang Genshuo rarely paid attention to his character card, he remembered those 3 talents very clearly. The second talent was key to his rapid progress: innate talent and bone structure, earth level, high innate physical growth, body refinement speed plus 50%. This is much stronger than ordinary talent like born great strength, mortal level, because Yang Fujian's physique is excellent in all aspects, not only in strength, but also in his 5 senses, speed, reaction speed, etc., far surpassing his peers, and his body refinement speed is also extremely fast. His ceiling is much higher than other martial artists. The last talent is the same as that of a martial saint, martial arts prodigy, earth rank, possesses a unique understanding of martial arts, significantly reducing cultivation bottlenecks. This attribute doesn't seem to increase positive stats, but it enhances inner martial arts talent. Yang Fuzhen will almost never get stuck at a bottleneck, greatly aiding his cultivation path. Yang Shi, a grandmaster of the innate realm, had already reached his physical limits. He studied with a martial saint for half a year, then practiced on his own for 2 years, and only barely broke through his bottleneck after 2.5 years of seclusion, following a serious injury. This round trip represents a 5-year bottleneck period. Martial artists have short lifespans, and these 5 years have meant missing countless opportunities. Moreover, through the cultivation of the Mingxinju, Yang Fuzhen's martial arts prodigy has advanced to martial arts prodigy +++, martial arts prodigy +++, earth rank, possesses a unique understanding of martial arts, significantly reducing cultivation bottlenecks, increasing the speed of cultivating any technique by 30%. His learning speed is also fast. Combined with his born sword maniac, he can basically memorize sword techniques after seeing them once and master them after practicing a few times. How can Yang Shi compare to Yang Fuzhen in terms of progress speed? However, Yang Fuzhen is his son, so Yang Shi can only be happy. Good, good, good. My son has the potential to become a great martial saint. Father, I'm going to practice the heart sword. Yang Fuzhen was very happy with the sword energy he had just mastered and went to practice again. Yang Shi chuckled. This child is more interested in swordsmanship than spirit stones. After Yang Shi came out of seclusion, he met with his 2 wives and talked about the events of the past few years. He was relieved to learn that everything was alright at home. I have broken through to the divine realm and am going back to the Donai dynasty to help senior brother Ding eliminate demons and protect the righteous path. These past few years must have been extremely difficult for him. The Thunder Immortal Venerable is now only one of his own. His sword sheath is separated, and he can't stand alone. Zhang Xiaobei knew what Yang Shi was thinking, and she sighed. Husband, our family is now prosperous, our children are successful, and we have started anew in the Liang dynasty. Can't we forget what happened back then? Liu Zihan also looked at Yang Shi expectantly. Most women think differently from men, especially after becoming mothers. They crave a stable life, hoping their husbands and children will be safe and healthy for life. My wife, please don't say anymore. I won't agree, the ancestor won't agree, senior brother Bai won't agree, senior sister Murin's long-cherished wish and senior brother Ding's years of hard work are all waiting for me. Yang Shi's heart was as firm as a rock, his eyes never wavering. It was true when he was a beggar, it was true when he became a grandmaster, and it remains true now. Yang Genshuo looked at Yang Shi on the screen and knew his mind was made up. As the ancestor, what can I do? Of course, I'll bless him. Manifestation, when you go back this time, bring all your tools. I'll be watching over you. Thank you, ancestor. After staying at home for 3 days, Yang Shi passed through the Demon Wind Forest path and returned to the Donai dynasty. Passing by the Spirit Lake Manor, Yang Shi slowed down and looked around. He thought of an old friend. Chapter 133 My Pill Split. 2.5 years ago, the Law Enforcement Bureau ambushed and defeated the Thunder Immortal, severely injuring 2 of his followers before disappearing. The trembling demonic cultivators of the Great Nai dynasty returned to their old ways, causing widespread suffering and incurring the wrath of heaven and man. However, under the Law Enforcement Bureau's regulations, demonic cultivators cannot harm living beings, they can only absorb a portion of their lifespan, otherwise they will face the Law Enforcement Bureau's punishment. The good news is that mortals can survive, the bad news is that they won't live long. The demonic cultivator giant Ding Zhen was extremely dissatisfied with the Law Enforcement Bureau's regulations, declaring, if demonic cultivators live under rules, are they still demonic cultivators? He repeatedly advised Blood Soul Valley to destroy the Law Enforcement Bureau and then dominate the Great Nai dynasty. The Valley Master of Blood Soul Valley praised Ding Zhen's insightful demonic understanding but did not approve his suggestion, because Blood Soul Valley publicly stated that it wanted to work with the Law Enforcement Bureau to establish a method more suitable for the development of demonic cultivators in the new era. They couldn't just slaughter entire cities at will, they needed a sustainable approach, like draining the pond to catch all the fish. Otherwise, what would happen when there was no more life essence to absorb? Who would support so many demonic cultivators in the future? Are we to expect demonic cultivators to drain their own people? This idea gained traction among many demonic cultivators, but only Ding Zhen, with his clear-headed demonic mind, was extremely unwilling. Originally, The tide had turned, and Ding Zhen had no way to stir up trouble anymore. He could only conspire with the Yang Shi sect to sabotage the Blood Soul Valley cultivators and the Law Enforcement Bureau's legion, engaging in a back-and-forth struggle. But in the past 2 years, the rogue cultivators, martial artists, and mortals of the Dani dynasty have finally understood. Rather than being oppressed by demonic cultivators forever, they might as well just give up, do nothing, eat, and live as long as they can. There's nothing to look forward to. Once the demonic cultivators have drained them, there will be no more to drain. The sustainable, exploitative practices promised by the Dani dynasty might collapse in the future. So recently, the demonic cultivators have become restless again, thinking, better to sacrifice my fellow cultivators than myself. I'll achieve immortality first, and then let the rest of us rot as they please. It's said that if one can achieve the Golden Core Deo, one can go to an upper sect, and then drain the people there. Ding Zhen noticed this trend and was overjoyed. He frantically urged the demonic cultivators to ignore the Law Enforcement Bureau, threatening to kill anyone who dared to obstruct them. He also gave several public speeches entitled "I Have a Demonic Cultivation Dream." Some of the demonic cultivators, incited by this, became dissatisfied with the Law Enforcement Bureau's restrictions and regulations, and began to provoke them, making the situation increasingly chaotic. Yang Shi returned to the Dani dynasty and felt even more keenly the wickedness of the world. When the three powers fight, mortals suffer. Yang Shi was deeply moved as he looked at the starving beggars on the roadside and the families ravaged by the violence. How could this be? You jackals and tigers, you all deserve to die. Guided by the thunderclap sword, Yang Shi sought out Ding Zhen to conspire with him. Besides the ravaged county towns, there were still some attacked county towns around the Yang Shi sect. The Yang Shi sect could no longer control the entire Dani dynasty. They could only protect certain areas from the harassment of demonic cultivators and the Law Enforcement Bureau. If it weren't for Ding Zhen's mediation and reporting, they would be even more passive. Master Zhuan's hair had turned completely white with worry. The Yang Shi sect was no longer the prosperous sect it once was. New disciples were becoming increasingly rare, and most of the older disciples, like Chu Qiao's generation, had perished on the path of demon slaying. This once dominant sect had lost its former prestige, resembling a sick tiger. If it weren't for Master Zhuan's golden core stage power, the entire sect would likely have been affected. Chu Qiao asked in the main hall, "Master, why don't you intervene and end this chaos?" Master Zhuan's slightly raised his eyelids, his face revealing his advanced age. "Do you still remember when your senior sister Murin single-handedly fought against 3 Foundation establishment cultivators from Blood Soul Valley?" "Of course. Back then, my Yang Shi sect's power overwhelmed the Dani dynasty, and the demonic cultivators lay dormant for years, afraid to show their faces. Do you know why your senior sister retreated? Wasn't it the Blood Soul Valley master who intervened? Otherwise, senior sister Murin would have definitely killed those 3 demonic cultivators. He in this world, who can surpass your senior sister Murin? Only those at the Golden Core stage? Ah. The Blood Soul Valley master is at the Golden Core stage? That's right. He made a move that day, and I also intervened to save Xian. We fought, but this place couldn't withstand the strain. So we agreed to rely entirely on our disciples' abilities." "I see." Chu Qiao left. Zhuanzhen Taoist sighed. There was one more thing he hadn't told Chu Qiao. The Blood Soul Valley master's lifespan was far longer than his. "If I can't end this in my lifetime, then I'll drag him down with me." Zhuanzhen Taoist closed his eyes. After a full month of flying on the treasure ship, Yang Fu and Yang Fushua finally arrived at their destination, the cloud-hidden spirit sect of the more than 20 people on board. The most excited wasn't the participating disciples, but Wang Shen. Looking at the ethereal and magnificent sect shrouded in mist, tears streamed down his face. "Finally here. I can't take another day like this." Yang Fushua, "He's not human." While the 2 Wang Shengs sobbed softly on the ship, feeling utterly defiled by the humiliation they had suffered over the past month. Their bodies had completely taken on Yang Fushua's shape. They had consumed various strange pills. While not physically dead, they had experienced death repeatedly. Thinking back on this time, the 2 Wang Shengs felt even more aggrieved. The first pill he had taken was a second-grade pill created by Yang Fushua himself. He named it the I Split Up pill. After taking it, he split open. His original physical body remained. But he used all his spiritual power and a portion of his divine consciousness to create another version of himself. He only had one consciousness, but suddenly he had to control two bodies. This caused Wang Sheng to want to control his spirit body to walk, but his main body ended up spoiling itself. All sorts of strange things happened between the two bodies, making Wang Sheng lose face. The most crucial thing was that Yang Fushuo's eye cracked pill had no antidote. Wang Sheng still didn't know how to reunite the two bodies. In order to survive these days, he practiced controlling the two bodies like he was learning to eat and drink from scratch, and now he finally stopped spoiling himself so easily. Now he could test pills with his main body, while his other spirit body served tea and water to Yang Fushuo. That's right, after Yang Fushuo used him to test pills, he also had to serve tea and water to Yang Fushuo because the Danghero sect was led by Yang Fushuo's master, Li Zuoyang. Wang Sheng felt that he used to live in Yang Fushuo's shadow psychologically, and now he was living in Yang Fushuo's shadow both physically and psychologically. Yang Fushuo also felt quite sorry for Wang Sheng, so he took out various ingredients and personally prepared spiritual meals for him. The moment a bowl of brightly colored spiritual food was placed before him, Wang Sheng felt an urge to forgive him. 3 days later, when Wang Sheng woke up again, his eyes were filled with gratitude. I saw my great-grandmother. A month later, Wang Sheng felt that nothing in this world could poison him anymore. Junior brother Wang, we are about to disembark. I'll give you one more pill, spare me, please. We're almost at the upper sect, don't embarrass me, senior brother Yang. Give me some face, Wang Sheng was almost crying. This time, Yang Fushuo readily accepted the pill. Alright, then I won't give you this, I've combined the pill, no. You can't do this. Before disembarking, Yang Fushuo passed by Yang Fu, and a flash of his flame soul furnace ring placed several pills into Yang Fu's hand. Quickly put them away, Yang Fu sensed them briefly, and the intense spiritual energy fluctuations shocked him. A third-grade pill. Chapter 134 The prodigies of the 12 dynasties gather at the Cloud-Hidden Spirit Sect. With many people on the boat, Yang Fushuo didn't explain much. Yes, I've tested the effects of the pills, and they're engraved on this jade slip. After a brief exchange, the two followed the group off the boat. They landed on a giant blue stone platform floating in the clouds, and the gate of the Cloud-Hidden Spirit Sect appeared before them. A huge white gate, radiating powerful spiritual energy. Its imposing presence even made Li Zuoyang, a Foundation establishment cultivator, secretly tremble. Could it be that a fourth-grade magic array is engraved on it? Everyone, don't move around too much later, be careful. The Danghero sect disciples all agreed. The leader of the True Fire sect, Meng San, was Yang Fu's guide, the head of the reception hall, and also a sect elder. He took a deep breath of the rich spiritual energy and exclaimed, "The spiritual energy of this upper sect is so sweet. With such rich spiritual energy, cultivation will be twice as effective. You accompanying disciples don't need to participate in the competition. Don't waste this good opportunity. Make sure to cultivate diligently in your spare time and cherish this chance. Did you hear me? I heard you," Shen Yao drawled, looking at Yang Fu with a resentful expression. After learning that Yang Fu was a participating disciple, her first thought was, impossible, everyone else was doing well, how did you suddenly become a prodigy? Then, after a moment's thought, she understood everything. The one undergoing tribulation was none other than Yang Fu, who was with her every day. She, who was a senior sister, had suddenly become a junior sister. Remembering the times she had taught Yang Fu cultivation, she felt so embarrassed she wanted to crawl into a crack in the treasure ship. Especially when Yang Fu asked with a smile, "Senior sister, when you drink with me in the future, you'd better lower the jar a little, okay? Don't mess up the hierarchy." Right, she only regretted that her stored ring couldn't hide people. Yang Fu had managed to hide them. However, when Shen Yao looked at Yang Fu's innocent smile and at this hard-won spot, her heart couldn't help but pound wildly when she was alone with him that night. Her face flushed, and she rolled around on the bed, unable to concentrate on her cultivation. After the treasure ship from the Liang dynasty stopped, more treasure ships flew in from other directions, carrying cultivators from other dynasties. "All disciples of the 12 dynasties, please wait here. We will enter the sect together once everyone is present," the envoy from the upper sect spoke, and no one dared to move. They rested on this large platform, each forming their own small circle. At this moment, the long-standing conflicts and disputes between the Danghero sect and the Zhanhero sect disappeared, and the two elders huddled together discussing something. When traveling, people from the same country always feel a sense of kinship. Yang Genshuo was watching all this on his computer, slowing down the passage of time to normal. Finally here. Union Spirit Sect. Let me see what a true major sect in the cultivation world looks like. Long ago, Yang Genshuo knew that both the Yang Shi sect and the Danho sect Zhenho sect were small, local sects. Not to mention, their sect leaders were only at the golden core stage. There were definitely more powerful ones. However, due to geographical limitations, the Yang family hadn't discovered other regional sects, so they could only let their children cultivate within these few sects. But this immortal path competition allowed Yang Genshuo to truly see what a major sect that ruled 12 dynasties looked like. Union Spirit Sect. The spiritual energy concentration here is so high. Even this reception platform meets the standards of a spirit gathering land. It's a 5-element spirit gathering land, capable of producing all kinds of spiritual energy. In other words, this platform could produce a wisp of mortal level innate spiritual energy every 10 years. In the Donai dynasty and the Liang dynasty, this was considered a good place to pass down as an ancestral home. A single spirit gathering land could support an entire immortal clan. Here, however, it's everywhere. Whether it's this platform, the area beneath the sect's gate, or any place within the sect, it all meets the standards of a spirit gathering ground. Then the cultivators here have no threshold for the key refining stage. They can collect 2 strands of innate spiritual energy just by walking around outside. The overall cultivation speed is also far superior to that of the dynasties below. If we farmed here, wouldn't the harvest be bountiful? Yang Genshuo wished he could cover the platform with spiritual soil and plant his hybrid spiritual wheat directly on it. However, apart from the concentration of spiritual energy, Yang Genshuo couldn't see much else for the time being, as they were still outside the sect. Let's see if these participating cultivators can pose any threat to my Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo. Oh, first, let's exclude the participants from the Donai dynasty. The Donai dynasty was mired in turmoil, and even its sects were in danger. They had no intention of participating in this immortal path competition, and the disciples they sent were just there to make up the numbers, mostly at the first or second level of key refining. They only sent an elder at the early foundation establishment stage to lead the team, clearly intending to slack off. I guess they're letting these disciples cultivate here for a while, break through a minor realm, and then go back. Disciples from other dynasties arrived, sizing each other up, chatting and laughing. Only the Yang Shi sect disciples arrived and sat down to cultivate, a completely different scene. Besides the Yang Shi sect, there were cultivators from 10 other dynasties who were competitors. Their skin tones varied slightly, and their appearances differed. Each dynasty had its own unique characteristics. For example, the people of the Donai dynasty were not much different from modern people, with yellow skin and black hair. The people of the Liang dynasty had brown skin and looked rather rugged. Other dynasties had fair-skinned, brown, and black people. Yang Genshuo saw a dynasty entirely composed of black-skinned people, the Yindi dynasty. Brother Ni is here too. However, the black-skinned cultivators of the Yindi dynasty were clearly not uncivilized barbarians, but rather legitimate cultivators with their own sex and abilities, just like the cultivators of other dynasties. Moreover, each of them possessed unique skills. Yang Genshuo roughly scanned the character cards of these 200-plus people, his brows furrowing immediately. As expected of a competition only the prodigies of major dynasties can participate in. Their strength is indeed formidable. There's even a cultivator with a heavenly spiritual root. That's ruthless. It's worth noting that Murin Ziyan is a heavenly spiritual root cultivator, possessing a single thunder spiritual root, and achieved foundation establishment in her early 20s. Her strength far surpasses that of others. This time, the heavenly spiritual root cultivator participating is named Li Yao, a water-type cultivator from the Sika dynasty. And he's the most effective water-type cultivator against fire, a formidable opponent for Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo. No, this is a disaster. How can they possibly fight him? Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo's trump cards are similar, a low-grade fire-type treasure and a heavenly-level innate spiritual fire. This allows them to defeat enemies even with lower cultivation levels. But now, they are perfectly countered by this water-type cultivator with a heavenly spiritual root named Li Yao. 2 against 1. And this is only the biggest obstacle. Even if they can't defeat him, taking second or third place is still acceptable. But besides him, there are also earth-type cultivators and various other exceptionally talented cultivators. Yang Genshuo was sweating with sympathy for the 2 brothers. This immortal path competition is more difficult than we imagined. I have to find a way to help them. Chapter 135 Blessed Land. All cultivators from the 12 dynasties have arrived. Open the sect gates. The long, milky white gate opened, and a small opening appeared in the restrictions surrounding the cloud-hidden spirit sect. The cultivators from the 12 dynasties lined up to enter. The disciples looked around in astonishment. Senior Brother Yang, this sect is truly different. Even the monkeys on this mountain are so intelligent, they seem just like people. Shen Yao gently tugged at Yang Fu's sleeve, pointing to the monkey on the sect mountain that had been watching them. The monkey's ears seemed incredibly sharp. It glanced at Shen Yao, revealing a disdainful look, and raised its middle finger, appearing extremely arrogant. Hey, hey, hey. This monkey. Yang Fu, look, Yang Fu chuckled. This monkey is a Foundation Establishment stage spirit beast. You should call it senior, don't offend it. Ah. Yang Fu, how did you figure that out? Yang Fu looked at the spirit beast card on the monkey's head, smiling without saying a word. Shen Yao shrank back, no longer daring to point and whisper, and followed Yang Fu closely, observing the splendor of the Yunnan spiritual sect. The Yunnan spiritual sect was enormous. As they walked along the outer perimeter of the sect, they could only see endless stretches of spiritual fields planted with a large number of spiritual plants, as well as various spiritual fruits and herbs. Yang Genshuo was seeing many of these varieties for the first time. Wow, this place is amazing. A farming paradise. Isn't this much better than the Blazing Sun Dynasty and the Great Nai Dynasty? If we could cultivate a few spirit fields here, the Yang family would be set for life. By the way, Taoist Master said the key to limiting the second generation of high-yield hybrid spirit rice lies in cultivating soil fertility. The spiritual energy concentration in these spirit fields is more than 10 times that of ordinary spirit fields, starting at 20 points. Would that allow us to grow even higher-yielding spirit plants? If there's an opportunity in the future, the Yang family should establish a clan at the cloud-hidden spirit sect. However, apart from the dark-skinned cultivators of the Silverland dynasty who looked at the spirit fields with interest, the cultivators from other dynasties were too lazy to even glance at them, not caring much about such trivial matters. Is it because they look down on spirit plants? That's true. These chosen ones are probably born with no shortage of spiritual food or elixirs, so why would they look down on these primitive spirit plant crops? The inability to distinguish between grains is actually caused by the environment. Some people are born into privilege, while others are born like cattle. The Yang family members have a deep affection for farming. Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo, even as children, would irrigate their family's spiritual fields using the spirit rain technique. Yang Fu, in particular, created numerous first-grade spirit rain technique talismans to water the spiritual fields in different locations within the Yang family estate. The masters leading the groups understood this sentiment well. The leader of the Danai dynasty's group was Zhuang Li, a newly promoted Foundation Establishment female cultivator. She looked at the spiritual fields with a complex expression. The Yunnan spiritual sect already possesses so many high-quality spiritual fields. Why does it still demand so much tribute from our sect? The Danai dynasty was in chaos. The royal family, relying on the military force of the Law Enforcement Bureau, had taken the lead in ceasing tribute payments. Immortal clans across the land followed suit, resulting in the Yang Shi sect receiving almost no tribute in recent years. However, the tribute to the upper sects could not be reduced. The Yang Shi sect was currently barely surviving on its previous savings, but it was already stretched thin. Besides bringing these disciples here as a formality, she had another important matter to discuss, requesting the cloud-hidden spirit sect to exempt the Profound Stone sect from 10 years of tribute, to be reinstated only after the Profound Stone sect resolved the problem of demonic cultivators. However, the sect leader's goal seemed fraught with difficulties to Zhuang Li. The envoys, leading the cultivators of the 12 dynasties, traversed a vast area of spiritual fields and arrived at their destination. Rows of staircases stretched straight into the clouds. Above the staircases, numerous buildings were vaguely visible in the clouds, appearing ethereal. Li Zuoyang whispered to his disciples, "The disciples of the cloud-hidden spirit sect cultivate in the clouds. Their residences are up there. This large area below is where the miscellaneous disciples and some families of the formal disciples live. Good heavens!" Yang Genshuo thought the place below smelled incredibly delicious, but it turned out to be just the residences of the cloud-hidden spirit sect's miscellaneous disciples. Rounding it up, the cultivation environment of my Yang family is inferior to that of the servants in the Yunnan spiritual sect. Only the training rooms of the Yang Shi sect and the secluded fire caves of the Zhenhou sect could compare to the servants' quarters. The resources are worlds apart. No wonder so many disciples are fighting tooth and nail to participate in the Immortal Path competition. If they can get a good ranking and stay in the United Spiritual Sect, it's like a class leap, and their future prospects are limitless. Yang Genshuo kept shaking his head, feeling that his future plans needed to be changed. Wealth, companions, methods, and land. This land is a blessed land, extremely important for a cultivation family. If the servants' quarters are this good, the living conditions of the formal disciples must be in the heavens. Up, they really are in the heavens. In a physical sense, the sect buildings were all built in the clouds. Yang Genshuo's perspective left Yang Fu and gradually explored upwards, crossing hundreds of meters of steps. At the limit of his vision, he saw immortals sitting above, commenting on the disciples below. Fellow Daoists, which dynasty's disciple do you favor in this Immortal Path competition? Who has the ability to win the title of the 12 dynasties #1 prodigy? Hell, we've all made guesses in previous years, but the Immortal Path competition is a comprehensive assessment of the path to immortality, with many variables. No one dares to say they can predict the #1 prodigy. However, I know which dynasty will come in last. HMPH Zhuanzhan of the Donai dynasty is relying on his seniority, actually sending some mediocre disciples to participate in the Immortal Path competition. Does he think he can challenge the authority of the upper sect? Perhaps he's angry because we took away their sect's most talented disciple, Muren Ziyan. Although old Taoist Zhuanzhan is a bit old-fashioned, he wouldn't be like this. I just heard from the guy that the Donai dynasty is engaged in war and is unable to spare the time. I see. That's understandable then. This time, the other dynasties have one less powerful competitor. The emergence of Muren Ziyan, with her unique spiritual root, has likely exhausted the dynasty's fortune. It's unlikely they'll produce another worthy rival within the next 100 years. I observe that the Siga dynasty has a disciple with exceptionally high spiritual potential, possessing a rare celestial spiritual root, perhaps capable of recreating Muren Ziyan's dominance over the cultivators of 12 dynasties. The Silver Earth dynasty disciples are always steady and exceptionally talented, skilled in spiritual plant cultivation. They could shine brightly in the second round of the Immortal Path competition. Here the Sky Garden dynasty is the only dynasty ruled by a single immortal race. They pool their resources to support a single family, possessing immense overall strength. Furthermore, they frequently produce disciples with twin spiritual roots, and their family members are united, giving them a significant advantage in the third round. I see the female cultivators of the Bahinia dynasty are quite spirited. Hey, look, how come 2 weak cultivators have infiltrated the Blazing Sun dynasty's participating disciples? Are they also involved in battle? All the cultivators turned their attention to the 2 contestants whose styles differed from the other 10 dynasties. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136 Ascending the Heavenly Ladder. 2 cultivators, Yang Fu at the second level of key refining and Yang Fushuo at the third level, seemed out of place among the other prodigies. Could it be that the cultivators from the Donai dynasty have wandered into the wrong place? That shouldn't be the case. How strange. Although the Liang dynasty hasn't achieved good results in recent Immortal Path competitions, it's still a dynasty that highly values high-level cultivation. The atmosphere of diligent cultivation among its cultivators is extremely high, placing it in the middle among the 12 dynasties. How come this year, the presence of 2 low-level key refining cultivators among a group of cultivators at the 8th, 9th, and 10th levels was particularly conspicuous? Could these 2 possess some extraordinary skill? What extraordinary skill? They couldn't even climb the first level, the 9 heavens cloud ladder. It seems I need to ask Fandion and Fandi what kind of trouble they're up to. They should increase the Liang dynasty's tribute by 10% next year. This is punishment for their disrespect of the Immortal Path competition. That's the way to go. At this moment, a bolt of purple lightning flew in from the south. A stunningly beautiful female cultivator stopped there. She was as cold as ice, exuding an aura that kept everyone at arm's length. Even the golden core cultivator seemed slightly more reserved in her presence. A young-looking male golden core cultivator approached, smiling, and said to Muren Ziyan, "Ziyan, you've come to watch the Immortal Path competition too. This time, the cultivators from your Donai dynasty's Yang Shi sect are a bit, well, not ideal, but they're not at the bottom. The absolute worst are definitely those two low-level key refining cultivators from the Liang dynasty. I don't know how they managed to get in. They've made a laughingstock of themselves. Muran Ziyin felt a surge of annoyance at the Donai dynasty's lineup, her icy gaze deepening. When she saw Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo's faces, she froze. It looks like him, then, she said calmly. Perhaps they possess some special abilities. The cultivator was slightly taken aback. Haha, but then again, everything that appears has its reason. Junior sister Muran is right. Don't underestimate the cultivators of the world. Such a mindset is rare among us cultivators. After the golden core cultivator finished speaking, everyone else fell silent, including Yang Genshuo. It seems there's no direct relationship between being a sycophant and strength. It's just a matter of different ways of sycophant. Muran Ziyin didn't speak, but quietly watched Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo, her lips slightly twitching as she thought of Yang Shi's large bucket of snacks. Hungry, many of the great cultivators from the cloud-hidden spirit sect chatted animatedly, paying close attention to the competition. Some even observed these prodigies from various dynasties with the intention of taking them as disciples. However, in the end, they all thought that the Blazing Sun dynasty was the most unreliable, disrespecting this traditional competition that had been passed down for hundreds of years, which made Yang Genshuo quite angry. Damn it! You bunch of old fogies, don't underestimate the young. My two children from the Yang family are going to achieve great things. Yang Genshuo cursed and clicked on their character cards, but when he saw them, none of them said a word. They're all golden core level monsters. The strength of the cloud-hidden spirit sect is terrifying. Alright, you guys are awesome because of your high cultivation, but to be honest, this competition is indeed a bit too difficult for Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo. Yang Genshuo was quite confident before, but after seeing the 12 dynasties' geniuses participating, each possessing unique skills, he dared not make any guarantees. Yang Fu's strength should be fine, but Yang Fushuo, it's uncertain. Yang Fu's cultivation level is low, but he cultivates the 5 elements of spiritual power and has refined 5 strands of innate spiritual energy, making his foundation extremely profound. Even a disciple at the great perfection of key refining is only about equal to him. Yang Fushuo is a genuine third-level key refining cultivator, with no other strengths besides his talent for alchemy. If other contestants could be provided with his spiritual food, there might be a chance for him to win the championship. Yang Fushuo should have no problem with the second round, but the first and third rounds. I'm afraid it's hard to say. After waiting quietly for a moment, the young, sycophantic cultivator who had been watching the spectacle from above flew down and landed slowly in front of the cultivators from the 12 dynasties, his face full of majesty. I am the host of this immortal path competition. You may call me Daoyang Cultivator, the disciples responded in unison. The immortal path competition is a path to heaven for young key refining cultivators from the 12 dynasties of the cloud-hidden spirit sect. Those who rank at the top will receive generous rewards, magic treasures, spirit stones, cultivation techniques, spirit beasts, anything you can imagine. The cloud-hidden spirit sect has it. Most importantly, outstanding cultivators may gain the favor of the cloud-hidden spirit sect's island lord, becoming disciples and members of the sect. Some of their family members may also move to the cloud-hidden spirit sect. The immortal path competition is divided into 3 stages, corresponding to cultivator's foundation, skills, and overall strength. It demonstrates a cultivator's comprehensive cultivation. The higher the score, the further you can go on your path to immortality. Years of competition results show that the immortal path competition has absolutely no shortcuts. It is a completely fair and just competition. After the competition, rankings will be based on the scores of all disciples in each dynasty. The top 3 dynasties will be exempt from 3 years of tribute. This is what all dynasties care about most. This 3-year exemption from tribute allows them to cultivate a group of even stronger disciples. The first challenge is the 9 Heavens Ladder. After Dao Yang finished speaking, golden light shone behind him, piercing through the clouds in the sky and dissipating, revealing a 1,000-meter-long ladder to the heavens before the disciples. Wow! The disciples exclaimed in amazement at the magnificence of the ladder. Dao Yang continued, the 9 Heavens Ladder has 900 steps, each level consisting of 100 steps. Each level tests your cultivation foundation. The more solid your foundation, the easier it will be to climb the ladder. On the ladder, everything except your own strength is forbidden. The number of steps you climb determines your score, and among cultivators of the same level, the fastest will advance. Dao Yang drew a line in the air with his right hand, and a huge golden mirror appeared before everyone. displaying the names of all 120 participating disciples, followed by their current scores. Now, begin your ascent of the ladder. You have 3 days. Upon hearing this, the cultivators from the 12 dynasties quickly ran towards the ladder. Under their master's guidance, they had already learned the rules in advance and were eager to show off their skills. Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo were no exception. They exchanged a glance. Go! Behind them, 2 Wang Xings and Shen Yao shouted simultaneously, go for it, senior brother Yang. Huh? Why do you have an echo? Shen Yao looked at Wang Xing. The 2 Wang Xings, I've cracked. Under everyone's gaze, 121 cultivators climbed the heavenly ladder. The moment they stepped onto the heavenly ladder, an extremely strong restriction enveloped all the cultivators' bodies. Their storage rings immediately malfunctioned, and their magic weapons, talismans, pills, etc., were all locked and unusable. However, their spiritual energy circulation was completely unaffected. Such a powerful restriction. If it could be used to defend against enemies, it would be a surefire kill. Damn it, the spirit shoes my father prepared for me have also failed. These steps have a gravitational pull, making it quite taxing on one's spiritual energy. We need to use them sparingly. I'll walk on flat ground for the first 100 steps. A towering figure from the Silverland dynasty strode up the steps without feeling any burden. Baji from the Silverland dynasty. A key refining perfection cultivator with an earth metal spiritual root, extremely talented. The first 100 steps test one's spiritual root. The purer the root, the less the attraction. With most prodigies possessing 3 spiritual roots, Baji, with his 2, showed a significant advantage. Moreover, judging from his physique, he was incredibly strong, making his speed for the first 100 steps extremely fast. Excuse me, behind him, a figure swiftly passed through the crowd, as smooth as flowing water. If Baji was running at a brisk pace, this figure was practically flying. The Sika dynasty, Li Yao with a heavenly spiritual root, the cultivators exclaimed in surprise. As the only heavenly spiritual root cultivator among the 12 dynasties participants, Li Yao's appearance drew everyone's attention. Every move he made was watched by every participating disciple. The first 100 steps, testing spiritual root talent, were like flat ground to him. He represented the limit of cultivator talent. All the cultivators looked at Li Yao with envy. With such talent, becoming an immortal is within reach. The first place is probably already decided. Let's fight for the remaining rankings. The outcome is not yet decided. Why boost other morale? We cultivators strive for the great Dao. Shi Hong, a dual spiritual root cultivator from the Danghero sect, channeled a ball of flame beneath his feet, resisting gravity to catch up with Nabaji, and continue towards Li Yao's direction. The other disciples also unleashed their own methods, beginning their sprint. Most of these talented disciples were 3 spiritual root cultivators, and some were dual spiritual root geniuses. The first 100 steps were not too difficult for them, it was simply a matter of speed. Only 2 people, once they stepped onto the steps, seemed to have their heels glued to them. Holy crap! So heavy. After Yang Fushuo climbed up, he felt an immense suction force coming from his feet, and he had to exert tremendous effort to climb even 1 step. But Yang Fu was different. His feet were practically welded to the surface. He was a cultivator with 5 spiritual roots, and the first 100 steps, testing the purity of his spiritual roots, were a hellish ordeal. At this moment, at the end of the 9 heavens ladder, besides the Golden Core elders, a large number of cloud-hidden spirit sect disciples who had come to watch the spectacle surged in. Seeing Yang Fu's feet welded to the surface and unable to move, they burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha, another chapter coming soon. Chapter 137 My speed surpasses yours. On the golden mirror-like surface in the sky, Yang Fu's name stood out prominently at the very end. Liang dynasty, Yang Fu, ladder. 1. The disciples of the Yunnan spiritual sect burst into laughter. How can there be such a person among the participants? This is the first time I've seen a disciple with 5 spiritual roots participate in our sect's immortal path competition. Even the war-torn Danai dynasty wouldn't send such a weak disciple, would they? Could this person be the offspring of the sect leader of that small sect in the Liang dynasty? Interesting. Very interesting. They've been too serious in previous years. This year, suddenly having someone like this is quite amusing. They all saw Yang Fu as the source of amusement in this competition. One elder, who had doubted whether he possessed any unique talent, fell silent and shook his head. Only Murong Ziyan continued to watch Yang Fu. a hint of expectation in her eyes. At the very bottom of the 9 heavens ladder, most cultivators struggled forward. Yang Fu, lagging behind the main group, was having difficulty, but at least he was still moving forward. But Yang Fu himself couldn't take a single step. The heavenly ladder seemed extremely displeased with Yang Fu's 5 spiritual roots, using all its power to hinder his ascent. Shen Yao clenched her fists upon seeing this. Yang Fu, come on. You're a child of tribulation, you can definitely do it. She believed in Yang Fu as much as she believed she could earn more spirit stones. Beside her, Wang Sheng was indignant. Heavenly ladder, come on, suck Yang Fu's Shuo with all your might. Don't let him move, Shen Yao. It was clear he didn't like Yang Fu's brother. Yang Fu, who was in last place, remained calm. Just as the ancestor said, this first level of the test was hellishly difficult. The rules of the annual Immortal Path competition were known to all the major sects, so these pre-selected participants knew the content of the competition long ago, allowing them to prepare in advance. For example, the 9 Heavens Heavenly Ladder was a comprehensive test of a cultivator's foundation. Any cultivator who forcibly increased their realm using unorthodox methods would be exposed and ultimately fail to obtain a good score. When it comes to laying the foundation for the key refining stage, among all the cultivators present, who can compare to Yang Fu, who cultivates all 5 elements simultaneously? Because my 5 elemental roots aren't pure? Then let me show you that my spiritual energy absorption speed is far superior to that of a heavenly elemental root. Yang Fu activated his cultivation technique, allowing his 5 elemental roots to simultaneously absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Boom! The dense spiritual energy of the cloud-hidden spiritual sect violently surged into Yang Fu's body, activating the heavenly jealousy talent. A peculiar rhythm appeared within Yang Fu's body, as if containing some special power. An additional 200% increase in spiritual energy absorption speed. Yang Fu's 5 elemental roots unleashed a 3x absorption speed. With the blessing of his talents, innate wisdom root, heavenly rank, and 5 elements harmony, earthly rank, coupled with the consumption of marrow cleansing pill, 5 element spiritual supplement pill, and fire tempering pill, to enhance his elemental root aptitude, Yang Fu now possesses 36 elemental roots across 4 of them. His fire elemental root has reached 38. A 3x absorption speed, that surpasses the speed of a heavenly elemental root. Want to test the purity of my spiritual root? At the key refining stage, my 5 spiritual roots are purer than your heavenly spiritual root. My speed surpasses yours. Boom. After Yang Fu activated his cultivation technique, a cloud of 5 elemental spiritual rivers appeared beneath his feet. All binding and suction forces vanished, and the first 100 steps of the heavenly ladder became as smooth as flat ground. Excuse me, Yang Fu, starting later, arrived first, floating past the other cultivators. Shi Hong, the first disciple of the Danhero sect, Baji, the warrior of the Yindi dynasty, the other dynasty's prodigies, Li Yao, who had already secured victory, felt a surging spiritual power rapidly approaching from behind and was startled. Another expert, he quickly rushed up to the 100th step, with Yang Fu following closely behind, becoming the second cultivator to reach the 100th step. At this moment, the cultivators from the Yunnan spiritual sect who were watching the spectacle fell silent for a moment. Is this Immortal's 5 elemental roots? Where did this news come from? Are they trying to mess with me? If it's true that he has 5 elemental roots, then the 9 heavens cloud ladder is broken. Wait, what happened to the betting odds? Who bet on Yang Fuqian to reach the 100th step? They must have made a fortune. The disciples were in an uproar. This reversal was too sudden. Who could have guessed this? Not to mention them, even the Golden Core elders watching the scene hadn't guessed it. What kind of cultivation technique was that kid just using? How could a 5 elements cultivation technique be so powerful? 5 spiritual roots. 5 elements cultivation? That's practically suicide. Even if he exhausts his lifespan, he still won't reach the foundation establishment stage. But how did he get up there? It was as if the 9 heavens ladder had malfunctioned. Did any of you fellow cultivators understand what happened? I just sense that the 9 heavens ladder lost its attraction to him. Could it be that the 9 heavens ladder has some special affinity for 5 elements cultivation techniques? Should we let him go? That kid absorbed spiritual energy so quickly, briefly surpassing Li Yao, who has a heavenly spiritual root. Is it some kind of special secret technique that made the 9 heavens ladder mistakenly identify him as a heavenly spiritual root cultivator, After the Golden Core Elder finished speaking, everyone suddenly understood. Very likely, Dao Yang frowned. That shouldn't be the case. The Immortal Path competition has been held for hundreds of years, and there's never been such a situation in the records. I just told these lower sect disciples that there was absolutely no possibility of cheating. Perhaps he really does have some talent. After all, he's a child of the Yang family. Upon seeing Yang Fu's surname and his resemblance to Yang Shi, Muren Ziyin was fairly certain that he was Yang Shi's child. Yang Shi was a prodigy, a grandmaster of the innate realm who had slain a key refining demonic cultivator. It was understandable that his son would be somewhat unusual. While everyone was discussing, Li Yao and Yang Fu had already moved, ascending the 101st step of the heavenly ladder one after the other. A gust of wind suddenly appeared and swept towards them. Curtain of waves, dense water spiritual energy transformed into layers of water curtains, blocking Li Yao's path. The water contained an extremely resilient power, which the gust of wind could not budge. A slight smile appeared on his lips. Maintaining the spell, he strode forward step by step. The second step of the heavenly ladder tested the cultivator's cultivation level. Each step brought a gust of wind. If one lost their footing, they would be blown off. As long as one's cultivation level could withstand the force of the wind, one could reach the top. However, these 100 steps were not so easy to climb, because climbing too quickly would result in being hit by two gusts of wind simultaneously, which, combined, could directly blow away a key refining cultivator. Moreover, this level consumes a great deal of spiritual energy, testing one's recovery ability. Cultivators who absorb spiritual energy quickly have the upper hand. Li Yao, clearly a top-tier cultivator, possesses profound spiritual energy. He walks steadily, recovering as he goes, even with a water curtain above him. Yang Fu, sensing the strength of the gale, smiled slightly. The five-element spiritual river protected him, and the gale was swept into the five-element spiritual energy, becoming invisible. He also moved forward quickly, his steps even lighter than Li Yao's. Clearly, in terms of cultivation, Yang Fu was not at a disadvantage. Shi Hong and Baji, who had caught up from behind, saw Yang Fu, a key refining level 2 cultivator, walking so easily and assumed the gale was weak. Without pausing to catch their breath, they climbed straight up. Whoosh! The gale slapped the two of them, sending them spinning several times before they regained their balance. Ah, no, what's wrong with him? I demand a pause in the competition. Not only the two of them, but even the well-traveled prodigies of the cloud-hidden spiritual sect were stunned. His expression shifted from "I've seen it all" to "I've never seen anything like this before." He didn't know what tricks Yang Fu had used to cheat in the first 100 levels, but this second 100 levels tested real cultivation. And he, a mere key refining level 2 cultivator, was trying to climb like this? Where was his manners? Did he even have the most basic respect for the 9 heavens ladder? The Golden Core cultivators who had suspected Yang Fu of cheating fell silent, some stroking their beards, others checking their storage rings, and still others plucking their nose hairs. Muren Ziyin's lips curled slightly, her entire being like an iceberg melting, flowers blooming, and everything reviving, leaving the Dao Yang cultivator who had been secretly watching her stunned. This was the first time he had seen Muren Ziyin smile. Although it was only a slight upturn, it made Dao Yang feel like spring had arrived. Junior sister Muren, do you also find this year's competition quite interesting? After all, I'm the one hosting it. Muren Ziyin's smile returned, her icy expression resuming. Oh, the competition continued, with all the cultivators struggling to climb the 9 heavens ladder. After Yang Fu's triumphant departure, Yang Fushuo was in last place, still laboriously climbing the first 100 steps, shouting a word with each step, his face flushed red. Why, what, forbidden, pills, medicine, for the past month on the treasure ship. He had been preparing with all his might, all his strength focused on pills. With pills banned, it was like Batman without his armor and chariot. Yang Genshuo had already told him about this situation, and he could only tough it out. However, Yang Fushuo looked at Yang Fu, who had already left everyone far behind, and chuckled. Don't hurry, not yet, strength, the 9 heavens ladder banning pills, what does that have to do with the pills I took last week? At the 200th step, Yang Fu and Li Yao reached the top almost simultaneously. The 201st step was a test of mental fortitude. Upon entering, countless noises filled their minds, frantically shaking their beliefs, as if nothing was worthwhile, and jumping off would be the end of it all. Blessing, tranquility, a golden light, invisible to anyone but the Yang family, entered Yang Fu's body, and all the noises vanished. Don't you understand the value of this game system? Yang Fu leisurely climbed the 300th floor, while the determined Li Yao followed closely, only a moment slower than Yang Fu. Without the blessing of his ancestor, he could never have passed the first 100 floors so easily. This made Yang Fu admire him. Senior brother Li's strength is truly formidable. I admire you. Li Yao's face flushed red upon hearing this, biting his lip tightly. Don't underestimate a young man's potential. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river. Let's see what happens on the next 600 steps. Yang Fu, PFFT. Yang Genshuo burst out laughing. I can almost see the top student praising the second-ranked student. You're already pretty good now. My blood pressure is rising. Ha 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 ha. Yang Fu and Li Yao were locked in fierce competition. One was a prodigy with profound knowledge, the other a top-tier cultivator with a rare, once-in-a-century talent and a heavenly spiritual root. Neither would yield. At step 301, testing comprehension, they were evenly matched. At step 401, a demonic attack struck, and Li Yao took the lead, while Yang Fu fell behind. At step 501, testing understanding of the 5 elements, Yang Fu overtook Li Yao by 30 steps, reaching step 600. At step 601, the steps were hidden in the void, only a crack could be found through spiritual sense. Yang Fu searched for a long time but failed to seize the opportunity, while this was Li Yao's forte. He decided to use this step to catch up with Yang Fu. His ancestral golden finger, in a visual sense, appeared, and Yang Fu led Li Yao by 100 steps. Li Yao watched Yang Fu leap up without stopping, his steps extremely confident, and a symbol slowly appeared in his mind. He opened his third eye. Something's not right, something's wrong everywhere. There's definitely something wrong. Li Yao sat down cross-legged and slowly closed his eyes. I must still be trapped by my inner demon, let alone him being trapped by his inner demon. The disciples of the Cloud-Hidden Spirit sect were already shrouded in an inner demon named Yang Fu today. Do you think it's possible that our understanding of cultivation has always been wrong, and that the 5 spiritual roots are actually the best talent? This question made the disciples fall into deep thought. Yang Fu reached the 700th level. Only 1 day had passed. 2 more days, the last 200 levels. Yang Fu sat cross-legged on the ground and began to cultivate, recovering his spiritual power and adjusting to his best state. He had simulated it many times with his ancestor, and the last 200 levels were the final difficulty. Even he couldn't say for sure that he could pass it. Brother, I will lend you a hand next. Yang Fushuo's voice appeared behind Yang Fu, as if it were right next to his ear. P.S. This chapter has a lot of content, and I didn't finish writing it before 12 o'clock, so the update is a little late. Chapter 138 Their amazing perseverance had no audience. Hearing his younger brother Yang Fushuo's voice, Yang Fu felt a surge of confidence. While Yang Fushuo's strength wasn't as profound as his, he possessed some unexpected abilities. For example, there was the spirit attached to him. This spirit initially resembled Yang Fushuo, but could change its form, squeezing through the crowd and climbing upwards. Later, seeing Yang Fu accelerate, it transformed into a sword, hanging behind him and following him all the way to the 700th floor, unaffected by the 9 heavens ladder's gravity. Remaining motionless, it resembled a sealed magical artifact. No one noticed it was Yang Fushuo's split spirit. After all, such a technique as an external body was a legendary ability possessed only by nascent soul stage cultivators. Who would have thought such a thing could be seen in a small competition dominated by key refining stage disciples? Not to mention the Golden Core elders watching, even their nascent soul masters wouldn't dare consider such a possibility. Yang Fu sat cross-legged on the 700th step, his 5 spiritual roots fully absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The day's consumption was being replenished, and his depleted spiritual energy was rapidly recovering. Blessing, gathering spirit, a golden light descended from the sky, allowing Yang Fu to recover even faster. Yang Genshuo also gave a boost to Yang Fushuo, who was ranked last. Yang Fushuo had just climbed 150 floors and was exhausted, lying on the steps panting heavily. Huff. So tired, huff huff, so tired. I'm huff first level, huff huff, I can't climb any more, huff huff. Yang Genshuo chuckled. Good, 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 you've really filtered out the slackers. If we don't talk about alchemy, Yang Fushuo's cultivation talent here really would be ranked last. Apart from possessing a heavenly level spiritual fire, He had no foundation that could compare with these geniuses. So it was reasonable that he climbed the slowest. Now he had become the real laughingstock among the Yunnan spiritual sect disciples. Look! That scoundrel's lying down. I reckon he's not far from giving up. For a cultivator with 4 spiritual roots like him, it'll take a whole day to recover his spiritual energy. Right. Steps 101 to 200 test a cultivator's most basic cultivation level. The final step scale is comparable to a full force push from a key refining grand perfection cultivator. His key refining level 3 cultivation has no chance of passing that step. He probably knows this himself, so he's just lying here resting, waiting for the 3 days to pass before ending this 9 heavens ladder competition. Hell, it's already quite good for a key refining level 3 cultivator to reach step 150. Given time, he might become a rising star. But this competition, he came for nothing. HMPH, next time he'll be too old. He's probably a relative from some fiery Sun dynasty who sent him here. He has no shame whatsoever. This guy deserves to suffer humiliation in the competition. Hey, I found a way to make money. I'm going to bet on the last place among the disciples in this competition. First place is hard to predict, but isn't last place a sure thing? This time, I absolutely cannot lose. The cultivator who placed the bet was smug, and the other disciples followed suit. At this moment, it was just as their scripture teaching master had said, this question was a free pass, take it or leave it. Of course. This ranking excluded the 10 cultivators from the Donai dynasty who had already given up on themselves. Those cultivators weren't there to compete, they were just there to absorb the sect's spiritual energy. Yang Shi was unaware that he had replaced his elder brother as the number 1 entertainer, lying on the 150th step, slowly cultivating, like an old monk in deep meditation, completely still. Meanwhile, his spiritual sense had already reached behind Yang Fu. 3 hours later, Yang Fu adjusted to his optimal state, stood up, and looked at the final 200 steps. Go, brother! Brothers united, we can move mountains, Yang Shi cheered from behind, providing ample emotional support. Yang Fu looked up at the sky, nodded, and stepped onto the 701st step. A refined young man in a white Taoist robe appeared before him, smiling slightly. Junior brother, be careful. Leaf petals flowed. Whoosh! A leaf shot out from the illusory figure's sleeve, hurtling towards Yang Fu like a celestial maiden scattering petals. Meteorite sand gold spirit sword technique. Yang Fu conjured a massive golden sword phantom in his hands, slashing at the swirling leaves with specks of meteorite sand. The leaves, as if encountering their natural enemy, were cleaved open, and Yang Fu nimbly weaved behind the golden sword, leaping onto the 702nd step, and bowing respectfully to those behind him. Thank you for your humility, senior brother. The elegant young man phantom behind him also bowed, then vanished. Steps 701 to 800 tested one's magic. Each step featured a phantom figure, representing a disciple from one of the 12 dynasties who had reached that level. Yang Fu was about to face a single attack from the geniuses who had reached such heights over the past few centuries. Each phantom figure here represented a legend. Those who reached the 700th step were the cream of the crop, selected from 120 cultivators within the 12 dynasties. The higher one climbed, the harder it became. No one has yet reached the 800th step, and the challenges of steps 801 to 900 are unknown. I wonder which step Yang Fu can reach. Yang Genshuo was also eagerly anticipating Yang Fu's performance. The battle of magic with the phantoms of the legendary cultivators from the 12 dynasties' history attracted the attention of most. After all, the previous ascents were just basic assessments, while this battle was the essence, the most exciting part. Seeing the refined young man at step 701 broken through by Yang Fu in one move, the golden core cultivators were all very interested. Yang Fu's strength at his peak is indeed not to be underestimated, huh? Senior brother Guo was quite elegant back then, just a bit weak. His spells were flashy but impractical. They should have been easily broken. By the way, senior brother Guo, what do you think? Hearing others ask this, a refined middle-aged golden core cultivator coughed awkwardly twice. This phantom only demonstrated the tip of my strength at the time. It doesn't prove anything, he then added. I didn't sleep well the night before the challenge, my cultivation technique malfunctioned, and wood is inherently countered by metal, eliciting laughter from the golden core cultivators and filling the air with a joyful atmosphere. Liquefied natural gas flame whip. Yang Fu conjured a long, red flame whip in his hands. The power of the heavenly grade spiritual fire immense. It directly whipped away the rows of metal spikes in front of him, then leaped up to the 704th step. Even easier than the previous step. Thank you for the favor, senior sister. Yang Fu broke another phantom spell, rested for a moment, and then ascended the next step. Behind him, Li Yao, covered in sweat, leaped up to the 700th step. He finally caught up with Yang Fu, but he had been challenging at high intensity for over a day and was now mentally exhausted. He could only watch Yang Fu climb step by step while he sat on the 700th floor to rest. His spiritual sense was far superior to Yang Fu's, and his recovery speed was also faster. I will definitely take first place. Defend the glory of the heavenly spiritual root, leaving aside the next two trials. In this first trial, the 9 heavens cloud ladder, cultivators with a heavenly spiritual root possess an absolute advantage. He still has a chance to overtake them. Yang Fu wasn't in a hurry at this moment, taking each step with extreme steadiness, constantly releasing various spells to break through the spells of those former prodigies. Snowflakes filing the sky, sandstorm of thick earth spiritual breath. Yang Fu used his earth-grade innate earth spiritual energy to break through water-based spells, ascending another step amidst the sandstorm. His earth-grade or higher quality 5-element spiritual energy gave him a significant advantage in his battles against those illusory prodigies. He could always find attributes that countered their spells. This scene greatly shocked the cultivators of the cloud-hidden spiritual sect. 5 spiritual roots can fight like this? Right. Who just said that 5 spiritual roots are actually the best cultivation aptitude? I think you're right. The cultivators still climbing the steps below looked up and saw Yang Fu, who was far ahead, constantly making moves, gaining a deeper understanding of him. This kid's magic is mastered by all 5 elements. No one can restrain him, and not only can no one restrain him, but all of us, except those with unique spiritual roots, will be restrained by him. Yang Fu is truly a formidable opponent. Even Li Yao with that heavenly spiritual root wasn't this troublesome. The Liang dynasty is quite interesting. It produced a top-tier genius and a top-tier waste. Hey? Have you noticed? These two look somewhat alike, and the first 2 characters of their names are the same. Could they be brothers? Perhaps the person below was raised by Yang Fu himself. The crowd buzzed with discussion. Some of the high-level cultivators, unwilling to give up, continued to strive, their eyes still burning with a desire for first place. They might not have the talent of Li Yao and Yang Fu, but their Dao hearts were never weak. However, everyone's attention was focused on those extraordinary geniuses. Their astonishing perseverance went unnoticed. Chapter 139. We two goof off and kill each other. One step, and another. Yang Fu's ascent slowed, and his recovery time grew longer. Behind him, Li Yao had recovered, his feet treading on giant waves as he broke through 3 levels. Next level. We'll attack together, Yang Fu said. Yang Fu nodded. He had reached level 744. Those who had reached this level were all top geniuses with extremely refined techniques. He was already struggling, barely managing to break through with all his might. Level 745. A female cultivator of the metal element, radiating golden light, wielded a long spear. Golden Spirit Spear Dance. The spear was unleashed, stirring up a golden storm. Countless golden spirit sword energies erupting forth, capable of inflicting 1,000 cuts upon contact. It's this move. Wasn't it said only Foundation establishment cultivators could practice it? This was an upgraded version of the golden spirit sword technique, a move learned only after mastering the art of manipulating objects, allowing for long-range attacks as graceful as sword manipulation. Can someone be called a prodigy if they don't cultivate beyond their level? Let's break her spell together, brother. Alright. Yang Fu grabbed the longsword transformed from Yang Fu's spirit body, and the two shouted simultaneously, liquefied natural gas, activate. 2 streams of extreme fire spirit energy transformed into fire dragons and surged out, swallowing the golden spirit spear dance in 2 gulps. Boom. What is more powerful than a wisp of heaven-level innate spirit fire? Answer, 2 wisps of heaven-level spirit fire. It directly annihilated this golden spell used beyond its level. Yang Fu advanced to the next level. The prodigies who had been watching him from behind were in an uproar. No. Why can he use a magic weapon? And such a powerful magic weapon at that? It's unfair. I want a rematch, sect host. We demand an explanation. I've suspected this kid is problematic for a long time, the cultivators below shouted, attracting the attention of the Daoyang cultivators. He glanced at the sword behind Yang Fu. It did indeed possess spirit energy. seemingly some kind of spell. But he had never seen it before, though every year's prodigies had their own methods, and he was already used to it. This is an illusionary spell, don't shout. Compete properly. Then he left. The other cultivators were instantly speechless. Li Yao, who was closest to Yang Fu, saw it most clearly. Why do I sense another person's spiritual energy? He seems to be talking to his spiritual sword. Strange. Li Yao continued to climb the stairs with all his might, unleashing the limit of a key refining great perfection cultivator's spells on each level. In previous years, these prodigies really couldn't stop him. Behind him, the second group of prodigies had also climbed 700 floors one after another. Half of the challenging cultivators had already fallen on the first 700 floors, ending their challenge. Those who were defeated by their inner demons, those who couldn't understand the five-element spiritual techniques, and those whose comprehension couldn't solve the difficult problems. Of course, there was only one at the bottom, Yang Fu, who climbed to the 155th floor. Look! He's lying down again. This guy's got some talent. He can rest for half an hour after climbing one step. Why are you still lingering? Just give up already. Look at the challengers from the Donai dynasty. They gave up right away, actually. From the mirror in the air, there were still 10 people behind Yang Fu, but the people from the Xuanxi sect were obviously just there to make up the numbers. They came down after the first step and were meditating. Yang Fushio didn't care about this at all. He was fully controlling his split spiritual body to help Yang Fu break through the genius's spell, and had no time to pay attention to his main body. With his current divine sense, he was not enough to control two bodies to fight at the same time. In addition, losing part of his main body had indeed made him much weaker, and he really couldn't climb anymore. With his younger brother's help, Yang Fu was much more relaxed, and the two of them struggled to climb another 10 steps. At the 759th step, they saw a cold female cultivator in white, holding 2 balls of purple lightning. Holy crap! Senior sister, Yang Genshuo exclaimed. The Yang brothers, Yang Fu and Yang Fushio, faced their greatest challenge yet. The golden core cultivators watching from the heavenly ladder were also completely absorbed in this scene. Dao Yang chuckled. They've encountered junior sister Murang's illusion. They'll likely have to stop here. Junior sister Murang seems to be the last illusion, right? The next 40 steps must be special challenges left by the elders. Yes, Zian currently holds the record for the highest level on the heavenly ladder. It's unbelievable that this young woman could reach this level. Murang Zian didn't speak, only looking at her slightly naive self from 30 years ago. That year, she won the Immortal Path competition, and the sect leader of the Yunnan spiritual sect accepted her as a disciple, ordering her to cultivate here from then on. She declined for many years with various excuses, wanting to clear all threats from her hometown before returning, but ultimately she was summoned. With the resources of the Yunnan spiritual sect, she quickly achieved the golden core Dao, but she often gazed blankly towards the direction of the Donai dynasty for a long time. How is her hometown? Yang Fu and Yang Fushio were on high alert. Yang Fushio knew this might be their final destination. Brother, my true form is coming, okay? The sword transformed into Yang Fushio's likeness and stood beside him, shouting together with Yang Fushio on the 155th floor. I've merged. A tremendous pulling force came from above, and Yang Fu's true form floated up like a gust of wind. He flew up in front of all the challenging cultivators. Hi hello goodbye, be careful with the inner demon level. Junior sister, you've fallen in love. Choose 3 for this question. I'll give you a hand. Just kidding. Ha ha oh isn't this the heavenly spirit root cultivator Li? You climbed pretty fast. But to be honest, it's not very useful. Yang Fushio chattered non-stop as he flew, greeting the cultivators on the ladder in a friendly manner. Then he merged with his split self on the 759th floor. He directly parachuted into second place. Golden Core Cultivator, Cloud Hidden Spirit Sect Disciple, 12 Dynasty Prodigies. Huh? At this moment, everyone's brains went blank, and they didn't even know how to ask any questions. Yang Fushio looked at the bewildered faces below and laughed loudly. Is this the challenge of the 9 heavens cloud ladder? We're just killing them all. Daoyan Cultivator was covered in sweat. Because he remembered what he had said before the competition started. It's going to be bad. A second before all the public opinion exploded, an old voice came from above the sect. No abnormalities in the 9 heavens cloud ladder. Continued the competition. The Golden Core cultivators all looked solemn and said in unison, yes. Sect leader, The other challenging disciples felt like they had a mouthful of phlegm stuck in their throats, feeling extremely uncomfortable. The cloud-hidden spirit sect disciples were in an uproar. One of the cultivators who had bet everything on Yang Shi getting last place fainted. "Senior brother! Wake up, senior brother!" This sudden change shocked everyone. No one knew how Yang Shi had done it. The Daoyan cultivators had no time to pay attention to Murin Ziyan's beauty. Instead, they were desperately trying to find the reason for all this. Yang Shi had no time to care about the shock of others. He and Yang Fu were facing a tremendous challenge. A younger version of Murin Ziyan. At this time, she seemed to be less than 20 years old. So strong, is this a cultivator with a thunder spirit root? I finally understand why the ancestor said that marrying Murin Ziyan would bring glory to the family. Ah. The ancestor said this to you? Yang Fu turned to look at Yang Shi, his face full of shock. Ahem. Don't worry about the details, let's attack. Brothers united can move mountains. Liquefied natural gas, 5-element spirit river, the two of them surged with power, challenging Murin Ziyan together. At this moment, they carried the pride of the Yang family in their hearts and absolutely could not allow themselves to fall. Yang Shi shouted, "Don't underestimate our family bond." Boom. 2 bolts of lightning blasted the two brothers away cleanly and efficiently. Yang Genshuo, 6, after all that effort, he was instantly defeated in one move. Their scores were fixed at 759. Li Yao also reached 759 after some time, but was defeated by Murin Ziyan's illusion, though his ranking was behind the brothers. The first stage of the 3-day immortal path competition, the 9 heavens cloud ladder, ended amidst cries of black curtain. At this moment, no one cared about the strength of the various dynasties or the potential contestants. Only 2 questions occupied their minds. 1. Are cultivators with 5 spiritual roots truly gifted? 2. Who can reveal Yang Shi's modus operandi? As usual, Dao Yang, with a face full of black lines, announced everyone's scores and then quickly announced the name of the second round of the Immortal Path competition. The second stage is called 100 Arts of Immortal Cultivation. Today's double update is a short one. Chapter 140 Yang Fu's Choice. The second stage of the Immortal Path competition, the 100 Arts of Immortal Cultivation, is in 7 days. The prodigies from the 12 dynasties, after 3 consecutive days of challenging the 9 heavens ladder, can finally rest. After all, this stage isn't entirely safe. Some disciples have been invaded by inner demons, or injured by the phantoms of past prodigies after the 700th floor, requiring healing. The reserve forces of each dynasty are busy assisting their cultivators in recovery, feeding them pills, providing guidance, offering admonitions, and summarizing their experiences. Yang Fu and Yang Shi's outstanding performance has astonished the 2 leading cultivators of the Blazing Sun dynasty. Meng San, Yang Fu actually won first place. Is this the true value of attracting a lightning tribulation upon advancing to the key refining stage? As the team leader, Fan Di, the sect master of the True Fire sect, revealed Yang Fu's true identity, a person who has experienced lightning tribulation. A ruthless individual who attracted a lightning tribulation upon advancing from the fetal breathing stage to the key refining stage, and even a minor advancement from the first to the second level of key refining still resulted in a lightning tribulation. He had never seen anything like it before. Let alone him, even the cloud-hidden spirit sect had never witnessed such a sight. If Yang Fu's excellence was somewhat expected, then Yang Shi was purely unorthodox. His master, Li Ziyang, who was also leading the team, didn't even know how his land had managed to defy the gravity of the heavenly ladder and fly up. He instinctively thought Yang Shi must have used some strange trick, but since the sect leader of the cloud-hidden spirit sect had spoken from afar, and the challenge was allowed, then it was within the rules. Disciple, how did you do it? Yang Shi chuckled. Naturally, I used the technique our Danhero sect excels at, pills, of course, but aren't pills forbidden up there? Even if you eat them before climbing the heavenly ladder, the medicinal power will be suppressed. What kind of pill is this? The advanced version of the cracked pill, huh? What pill? Li Ziyang felt like he'd misheard. It's the advanced version of the cracked pill. I ate it on the ship, and the medicinal power has long been digested, leaving only its effects. Hearing his disciple explain his newly refined pill, Li Ziyang was extremely surprised. You actually created a second-grade pill yourself? Yang Shi chuckled. I guess so, my split pill is second grade, but this advanced version isn't. A genius. Do you know how many years it takes to create a pill formula from scratch? How many spiritual herbs are used to actually refine a new pill just days before the competition? You're a born alchemist. Not really, Yang Fushuo said somewhat awkwardly. Li Zuoyang immediately frowned. Did you refer to some ancient formula? Did you see it in the Lava Earth Tomb secret realm? That makes more sense. I was wondering why, not just one new pill, there are two more. Li Zuoyang, who was talking eloquently, was interrupted, and then said seriously, don't talk nonsense. If new formulas were that simple, my Danhero sect would have risen to prominence long ago, Wang Sheng said. I can vouch for senior brother Yang, he does indeed have other pills. Huh? Why do you have an echo when you speak? I split. Another Wang Sheng popped his head out from behind. Huh? Of everyone present, perhaps only Wang Sheng could guess how Yang Fushuo had done it. He consumed the I-split pill, then used his spiritual body as an anchor point, and then used the I-combine pill to generate a tremendous gravitational pull, rapidly merging his physical body with his spiritual body. This process was extremely fast and uninterrupted. Yang Fushuo must have used this unique gravitational pull generated by the merging of his physical body and spiritual body to quickly ascend the heavenly ladder. However, after ascending the 9 heavens cloud ladder, one can no longer use pills. How did Yang Fushuo consume the I-combine pill? Wang Shen was puzzled. Yang Fushuo only slightly revealed a bit of his ability, smiling without saying anything more. Those who understand understand, and those who don't, I can't help. I can only say that those who are willing don't need to be taught, and those who are not willing won't learn, Li Zuoyang said, noticing the cultivators from the 10 great dynasties around them straining their ears to look at them, and didn't ask any more questions. Well, anyway, our results are valid. Whatever the method, as long as it's not against the rules, any method that leads to the great Dao is a good method. Li Zuoyang was happy for Yang Fushuo, because if they could achieve this result in the first round, they wouldn't have to worry about the second. The Danhero sect's prodigies have always held an advantage in the 100 Arts of Immortal cultivation round. Only the cultivators from the Rune dynasty could rival them in talismanic arts. Other sects might excel in weapon crafting, formations, spiritual plants, divination, and other skills, but these two dynasties, whose foundation is based on these skills, are the most specialized. Their Liang dynasty is filled with fire veins, a natural holy land for alchemy, a gift from heaven. Even a random cultivator from the true fire sect could refine several commonly used pills. Li Zuoyang's only worry was that Yang Fushuo might do something unexpected. At this moment, many cultivators leading teams from other dynasties approached, hoping to subtly inquire about Yang Fushuo's methods for passing the level, but Li Zuoyang and Meng San joined forces to drive them away. Do you have anything good to offer? If our Liang dynasty can achieve a good ranking in the 9 heavens cloud ladder using Yang Fushuo's methods, then in the next immortal path competition, the Liang dynasty can rise from the middle to the upper echelons of dynasties. If it weren't for the Yunnan spiritual sect's rule against disturbing the contestants of participating dynasties at this time, those golden core cultivators would have already come down. Murin Ziyan smiled slightly after seeing the results. It was unclear whether she was happy that no one had defeated her 30-year-old self, or because of the two children's outstanding performance. Compared to the lively atmosphere on Yang Fushuo's side, Yang Fu's side was much quieter. After descending the heavenly ladder, he sat cross-legged on the ground to cultivate. The challenges after the 700th step greatly broadened his horizons. He hadn't realized there were so many exquisite techniques. He recalled the spells of those prodigies in his mind, dissecting and combining them to form his own understanding of spells. The ancestral blessings were also fully bestowed upon him. If he weren't unable to conceive, he would have even received a spirit-nourishing blessing. Yang Fu's comprehension was extremely high. He absorbed all these brief battles into his experience, and with the abundant spiritual energy of the cloud-hidden spirit sect, his strength further increased. The 5-element spirit river was about to fill up, and he had already reached the peak of the second level of key refining, half a step towards the third level. He could advance at any time. The second challenge, the 100 Arts of Immortal Cultivation, was not Yang Fu's forte, because his expertise in talismanic arts had not been well preserved in the Liang dynasty. He only knew some basic second-grade talismans, nothing particularly outstanding. However, Yang Genshuo had already found a shortcut for him. If he succeeds, Yang Fu's score in the second challenge will definitely not be low. 7 days later, The second round of the 100 Arts of Immortal Cultivation competition officially began. Dao and cultivators presided over the competition. We cultivators, besides needing profound realms and powerful spells, also need a skill to support ourselves on our path to immortality. Even the most talented cultivator won't progress quickly without resources. Therefore, this trial tests your skills. The challenges of the 100 Arts of Immortal Cultivation are all behind me. You may choose one to challenge. Behind him, dozens of different paths displayed the names of various immortal cultivation arts, weapon crafting, alchemy, formations, talismans, spiritual plants, spiritual cuisine, beast taming, goo control, and mechanisms. Calling them the 100 Arts was actually a euphemism. Within the dynasty managed by the Cloud Hidden Spirit sect, there were only about 30 truly mainstream immortal cultivation arts. The talented cultivators chose their preferred arts and entered the challenge arena. Yang Shi, without much to say, entered the alchemy area. However, Yang Fu didn't choose his specialty, talismans, but instead entered the spiritual plant area. Chapter 141 Second Generation Hybrid Rice. Senior brother, the path of cultivating spiritual plants is a minor path, so why is it listed alongside alchemy and weapon crafting as one of the 100 Arts of Cultivation, and even included in the second stage of the Immortal Path competition? A naive female cultivator from the Cloud Hidden Spiritual sect watching the competition asked, seemingly quite young. Junior sister is both right and wrong. Although the path of cultivating spiritual plants is a minor path, it is the foundation of all things. Spiritual food is processed from spiritual plants, and the sect's spiritual herbs also require a large number of spiritual plant masters to cultivate, especially some rare spiritual herbs, which are extremely difficult to grow and require top-notch spiritual plant masters to care for them. Then how is the path of cultivating spiritual plants assessed? It takes at least several decades to grow a single spiritual herb, and even ordinary spiritual wheat and rice need a year to grow. Do these cultivators have to stay there for that long? Faced with a naive junior sister's question, some seasoned veterans who frequently watch the Immortal Path competition offered their explanations. Junior sister, you may not know, but within the training grounds for the spiritual plant trial, there's a natural cycle array, jointly set up by the Golden Core Island Masters. This array can forcibly accelerate the growth of spiritual plants planted on that land, making one day's growth equivalent to years, enough to bring the things these cultivators have planted to initial maturity. Then how are their scores judged? The adorable junior sister, like a walking encyclopedia of questions, was charmingly naive, attracting the patient explanations of many male cultivators. The total spiritual energy contained in the harvested crops can be calculated using the Elder's Earth Spirit Scale. Scores are based on the total spiritual energy generated from the spiritual plants they planted within 10 days. Oh, I see. The disciples from the 12 dynasties knew these rules in greater detail, and they had already prepared their own strategies. The number of prodigies choosing the spiritual plant skill was not small, second only to the four major arts of weapon crafting, alchemy, talismans, and array formations. After all, this had the lowest entry barrier, and there were some shortcuts available. Hey? Senior brother, I saw that person take out a spirit seed from their stored ring and start planting it. That's unfair to the other challengers. Let's go tell master, this person is cheating. The junior sister thought she had caught a loophole and was eager to take credit. The senior brothers all shook their heads. So clever by half, there are always disciples like this, thinking they can grow crops with extremely high scores just because they have rare seeds, but they all forget one thing, my union spiritual sect encompasses all things, receiving offerings from the 12 dynasties below, including almost all kinds of spiritual food, spiritual fruit, and spiritual medicine seeds. What good seeds don't we have in our seed bank? The self-important fellow you're talking about is growing lava flowers, a first-grade fire-type spiritual medicine, and its yield is indeed quite good. However, a few years ago, my union spiritual sect's seed bank acquired a seed called fire essence flower, which has a higher medicinal effect and a higher yield under the same conditions, and has long since completely replaced lava flowers. The junior sister nodded repeatedly. I see. So those with abundant knowledge can actually get a good score. That's right. My master said that the 100 Arts of Cultivation are not just about who has higher cultivation and better spells, but more importantly, the accumulation of knowledge. This kind of fool who uses his own seeds obviously lacks knowledge about spiritual plants. Of course, if you can find a spirit seed that yields even more than the ones in our sect's seed bank, then you deserve a high score. And we can also collect new high-yield seeds. In earlier years, there were indeed some, but the immortal path competition has gone through hundreds of years, and we've almost exhausted all the good resources from the 12 dynasties. It's practically impossible for them to reappear. The cultivators who came to challenge were already aware of these rules. Yang Genshuo naturally knew them too. Therefore, during last year's offering, Yang Genshuo presented the Yang family with a second-generation hybrid spirit rice that the Taoist had just bred. In the field planting experiments this year, this second-generation hybrid spirit rice successfully flowered and bore fruit, achieving a yield of 1,500 jin per mu in the spirit lake manner with a spiritual energy concentration of 6. This broke the Yang family's spirit rice yield record, and directly exceeded the highest record by 400 jin. Although it still can't compare to the most advanced high-yield rice of modern times, it's already extremely rare in the cultivation world. In any case, he had never seen any crop so productive in the Donai dynasty and the Liang dynasty. The only drawback is that, because this was improved by Taoist master using gene editing technology on the first-generation hybrid spirit rice, while achieving high yield, it lost its heritability. This means that once harvested, this spirit rice cannot be planted again and will not grow normally. It can only be mass-produced from seeds of the first-generation hybrid spirit rice in Taoist master's laboratory and then given to the Yang family for planting. This is quite troublesome, as Taoist master's small laboratory cannot produce that many seeds in a day. Therefore, it has only been used on a small scale and is not yet ready to be promoted to increase the Yang family's agricultural output. Moreover, because the Yang family earns spirit stones through fasting cakes, they mainly cultivate the first-generation spirit wheat, while Taoist master is already developing the second-generation spirit wheat. He is completely absorbed in developing the new seeds, and now, apart from going for a foot massage, no one can get him to come out of his shell. Yang Genshuo has also provided him with spirit water from the spirit lake and spirit soil with a high concentration of spiritual energy from the demon wind forest. Then let Taoist master help you pass this second test. Yang Genshuo clenched his fist tightly, looking at Yang Fu expectantly. This is the only way he can achieve good results in the second test. Each challenger on the spirit plant side was allocated 1 acre of land, where they could plant any crop they wanted, which would grow wildly under the activation of the array. Yang Fu sowed second-generation hybrid spirit rice and then cast a simple spirit rain spell, which caused it to sprout immediately. The other cultivators planting were looking around, observing the methods of others, especially Yang Fu, who had performed exceptionally well in the first round, making him the focus of everyone's attention. When they saw Yang Fu pull out a bag of ordinary spirit rice seeds, many cultivators laughed. This person is not to be feared. The cloud-hidden spirit sect disciples watching from above also shook their heads. This is even worse than the one with the lava flower. How much spiritual energy can the lowest grade of spirit rice produce? I saw how brave Yang Fu was in the first trial, and I had high hopes for him, but I didn't expect him to be so incompetent in cultivation. Spirit rice seeds are everywhere. How can he even grow flowers? I think this person is good at fighting, but knows nothing about cultivation. Maybe his elders are too wealthy, and he's never worried about spirit stones, so he's out of touch with reality. Some disciples skilled in spirit plant technique spoke up, drawing everyone's agreement. After Yang Fu planted it, he used various techniques to assist the spirit plant. He cultivated the 5 elements technique, and had a considerable advantage in spirit plant magic. He could use earth, wood, and water magic to provide magical support for the growth of the spirit plant. Enriching soil technique, growth of all things technique, nourishing technique, the second-generation spirit rice grew wildly, and the surrounding spiritual energy was frantically absorbed by this rice paddy. It flowered and matured in just 1 day. Golden spirit sword technique, Yang Fu conjured a golden sword aura in his hands, harvesting the ripe spirit rice. He lifted the bundles himself, a look of delight on his face. 2,000 jin, this was the cloud-hidden spirit sect, a place with extremely high spiritual energy concentration. Even ordinary places had a spiritual energy concentration of 20 points, far exceeding the spirit lake manor, allowing the second-generation hybrid spirit rice to fully realize its potential, reaching a terrifying 2,000 jin. This exceeded Yang Genshuo's budget. Good heavens! Is this a treasure trove? The cloud-hidden spirit sect not only has sweet air, but the land is so fertile. At this moment, seeing the bundles of spirit rice piled up like small mountains beside Yang Fu, everyone was bewildered. Is this from an acre of land, my immortal? Chapter 142 Yang Shi, a third-rank alchemist. Our Yunnan spiritual sect has collected dozens of types of spirit rice seeds from the 12 dynasties. Have we ever seen spirit rice that yields 2000 jin per mu? Don't even mention 2000 jin, we've never even seen one that yields 1000 jin per mu. Could this person have brought spirit rice with him? How did he get through the storage space? Wait, this person has opened up again, it's back, that familiar feeling is back. The disciples of the Yunnan spiritual sect rediscovered the feeling they had a week ago when Yang Fu dominated the Nine Heavens ladder. He clearly looked ordinary, but in reality, he was terrifyingly strong. It was one thing for a key refining level 2 cultivator with 5 spiritual roots to overpower a key refining great perfection heavenly spiritual root cultivator. Everyone has their own extraordinary encounters, and who knows what strange cultivation method could make even a golden core cultivator unable to discern their true cultivation level. But to cultivate a field and surpass the Yunnan spiritual sect's record by a factor of 2, wasn't that going too far? Does this cultivation of spiritual plants even follow the laws of the Great Dao? I refuse to accept this. I'm going to watch his every move. I want to see how he grows 2000 jin of spiritual rice. Could it be that his seeds are special? The lively discussion among the disciples of the cloud-hidden spiritual sect attracted the attention of the golden core cultivators. Originally, they weren't interested in this kind of spiritual plant. The technique was too ordinary, and none of these people were cultivators specializing in spiritual plants. Instead, they were full of grandmasters in alchemy, weapon crafting, formations, and talismans. There was also a prodigy skilled in mechanical puppetry, but none of the 12 geniuses this time chose mechanical puppetry, which disappointed him greatly. 2000 jin per mu? What level is that? Can any senior brothers or sisters enlighten me? This golden core cultivator hadn't worked with spiritual plants for several hundred years and was unfamiliar with the concept. Dao Yang cultivator was different. He had specially studied a lot for this year's presiding ceremony. At this moment, he did a quick calculation in his mind, and his expression changed slightly. If he can maintain this level of spiritual power every day, his score will far surpass everyone else's, perhaps even equaling the score of 2 people. Upon hearing this, everyone understood and gasped. It's incredibly difficult to differentiate scores in the cultivation of spiritual plants. Yang Fu's ability to double the scores of the other cultivators was truly beyond everyone's imagination. Among them, Lei Xiang, the golden core cultivator in charge of the sect's cultivation, wasn't particularly concerned about the scores of these prodigies, but after a quick calculation of the yield, his face lit up with joy. High scores don't matter, but if this spiritual seed lands in our sect, I can reduce the land allocated for spiritual food cultivation by half to grow more spiritual herbs. This boy's contribution is immense. Excellent, excellent. Just based on this spiritual seed alone, he's qualified to enter our spiritual plant hall. After this competition, I will apply for a spot for him at the cloud-hidden spiritual sect. Everyone was astonished. It's important to understand that even for golden core cultivators like themselves, securing a spot for a native cultivator from a lower dynasty to come to the cloud-hidden spirit sect is extremely difficult. Each person accumulates resources over many years to accumulate just one spot, a tremendous favor. It allows an entire family to transcend social classes. Essentially, the promoted person and their family will forever become the promoter's subordinates, working for them generation after generation, while their own family will soar to great heights. Lei Xiang decided to use his extremely precious spot simply because he saw this spirit seed, showing how important it was to him. Muren Ziyan naturally wouldn't be absent either. Her foundation in the cloud-hidden spirit sect was shallow. She wasn't even qualified to promote someone from a lower dynasty, so she was slightly surprised upon hearing this. If the Yang family could come, she sucked up non-existent saliva, a childlike joy appearing on her beautiful face. I am struck. The Daoyan cultivator felt like he had fallen in love again. Muren Ziyan suppressed her smile, glancing at him as if he were an idiot. But when she saw the 22 cultivators from the Yang sect desperately absorbing spiritual energy, her heart sank slightly. If Yang Fu brings Yang Shi along, what will become of our hometown? Her feelings were extremely complicated. She would be happy if the Yang family could obtain this tremendous opportunity, but the demonic cultivators in her hometown still needed Yang Shi to cleanse them. After he left, Ding Zhen would be left alone. I wonder if he has already learned the martial saint's divine path. Muren Ziyan had met a martial saint once and greatly admired this old martial arts master because he had pioneered a new path for martial arts. This was also one of the reasons she entrusted the matter to Yang Shi. In Ziyan's view, Yang Shi's talent was no weaker than the martial saints, and with the support of her own thunderclap sword, he could work with Ling Zhen to achieve great things and help the Danai dynasty eliminate the demonic cultivator scourge. The competition continued, and Ziyan's thoughts drifted further and further away. The next day, Yang Fu delivered another 2,000 jin of spirit rice, which completely stunned the cultivators in the spirit plant area. The first place in the spirit plant zone is already a foregone conclusion. The only question is how many points he can accumulate. It seems that if it weren't for another exceptionally talented prodigy, Yang Fu would have taken first place again. This kid is not only exceptionally talented but also incredibly lucky. Finding such miraculous seeds must have his ancestral graves emitting auspicious smoke. His younger brother, however, is about to be exposed. This is a real test of skill. Alchemy isn't something to be taken lightly. There are no shortcuts. Yang Fu was refining his first batch of pills. He was extremely focused, his hands emitting a deep blue, heavenly-level spiritual fire. The medicinal herbs in the furnace were stimulated and catalyzed by the flame of life, their age continuously increasing, evolving from ordinary second-grade spiritual herbs to second-and-a-half-grade spiritual herbs. Their quality had risen by half a level. The cloud-hidden spiritual sect provided all alchemists with a large quantity of basic medicinal herbs, ranging from first to third grade. However, almost no one used the third-grade pills because the spiritual power they contained was too immense. If one's own strength was insufficient, the furnace would explode. Once the furnace exploded, the second stage would result in a score of 0. I was testing your skills, and you blew up your livelihood. You deserve a 0. Yang Fushuo himself was only at the third level of key refining, barely able to control the spiritual power of second-grade medicinal herbs, let alone choose third-grade ones. However, he could empower the herbs with his heavenly-grade spiritual fire. The fire of life grows with a thought, decays with a thought, Yang Fushuo muttered to himself. His understanding and application of liquefied natural gas was far superior to Yang Fu's, because he only had this wisp of spiritual energy. This time, following his master's guidance, he chose relatively safe pills, not refining those pills he made on a whim. Not to mention whether it was easy to judge the quality, he himself didn't want others to take his pill formulas away at will. I can crack, but you can't. This batch of pills was a genuine second-grade pill from the Genshuo sect, Burning Spirit True Fire Pill. It greatly enhances a cultivator's control over fire spiritual power, greatly increasing the power of fire-based spells. It is a pill specifically for strengthening fire cultivators, commonly known as the Lesser Fire Cloud Spirit Aperture Pill. The batch he refined, enhanced by a heavenly-grade spiritual fire, possessed even greater medicinal power, surpassing ordinary Burning Spirit True Fire pills. Collect. Yang Fushuo extended a wisp of spiritual energy from his hand, pulling out 6 golden patterned, red-based pills from the furnace. Their appearance was noticeably brighter and more refined than ordinary Burning Spirit True Fire pills. In 2 days, Yang Fushuo had diligently refined a batch of extremely high-quality Grade 2 pills, already surpassing most alchemists. But it wasn't over yet. Yang Fushuo placed these 6 pills into his low-grade treasure, the Flame Soul Furnace Ring. He had obtained this in exchange for a 1,000-year-old fire spirit mushroom, perfectly suited for alchemists. The ring contained a hidden world with a fire vein, allowing the refinement of pills and magical artifacts. Any item entering the ring would be imbued with fire spiritual power, increasing its grade. Pills placed within it could increase in quality by half a grade. My Grade 2 half pills go in, but they come out differently. Now, standing before you is the Grade 3 alchemist, Yang Fushuo. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Spirit Rice Mountain. The Flame Soul Furnace Ring is Yang Fushuo's biggest trump card in the Immortal Path competition. Each of these treasures contains immense power and possesses a special function. Yang Fu's glazed fire bottle can seal an opponent's spiritual power with flames. Yang Shi's thunderclap sword can shatter all spells with a single strike, rendering passively triggered life-saving measures ineffective. Ding Zhen's thunderclap sword sheath can transform all attacks into lightning magic and can also store spiritual power to automatically protect its master. When the thunderclap sword and its sheath are combined, They can unleash a thunder sword array powerful enough to slay even Foundation establishment cultivators. However, while their treasures are useful in combat, Yang Fushuo's treasure is purely an auxiliary treasure, possessing no combat power whatsoever. It contains an innate fire vein. The ring's auxiliary ability lies in using this fire vein to enhance a cultivator's achievements in alchemy and weapon crafting. This flame soul furnace ring can not only serve as an alchemy furnace and forge, allowing direct refining of pills and magical artifacts, but it can also utilize the fire vein to improve the quality of pills and magical artifacts. Second-grade pills can be upgraded to second-and-a-half grade. Yang Fushuo's heavenly level life flame has a similar function, and the combination of the two directly opened the door to a new world for Yang Fushuo. During his month on the treasure ship, the pills he had Wang Sheng help him test were all second-and-a-half grade pills, but when he disembarked, he used third-grade pills. Not only for himself, but he also gave Yang Fushuo many useful third-grade pills. After Yang Fushuo finished refining one batch of pills, he sat cross-legged on the ground, as immovable as a mountain, controlling the flame soul furnace ring to condense the 6 pills. Many alchemists, after completing one batch of pills, would immediately start a second batch without thinking. What if they could do even better? Anyway, 10 days was enough to refine 2 or 3 batches of second-grade pills. No one else would sit down and do this after completing one batch like Yang Fushuo. This most popular cultivation skill naturally attracted a large number of viewers. The Golden Core cultivators were hesitant to speculate about Yang Fushuo's behavior because they had all been proven wrong in the previous test. This young man's spiritual fire is extraordinary, at least a type of earth-grade spiritual fire suitable for alchemy. I observed that the quality of his first batch of pills was quite good. He must have already reached his peak. There's still time. Why not refine another batch? Is there some other trick up his sleeve? Could it be? An old cultivator with white hair stroked his beard and said, 300 years ago, I heard a 5th-grade alchemist mention a legendary secret method that allows one to absorb finished pills into their danshan, causing them to continuously dance on the danshan fire, forcing out impurities and thus improving the quality of the pills. This secret method is called the jumping pill method. Jumping pill. The Golden Core cultivators were also hearing about such a miraculous alchemy method for the first time, and their eyes held a strange expectation as they looked at Yang Fushuo. After all, they knew from the first trial that Yang Fushuo was a man of many techniques. It was possible he knew the jumping pill method. The disciples of the Cloud-Hidden Spirit sect, however, had a different understanding of Yang Fushuo's actions. Showing off, absolutely showing off. Look, I already know it's a sure thing after just one batch. Tisk tisk, I can't even imagine how awesome it would be if he got a high score. He's probably already performed at his highest level, just trying to show off his superior skills. HMPH, we saw right through him. Keep pretending, but if you think you've got the win in the bag, you're sorely mistaken. 2 challengers each used a grade 3 spiritual herb. And so far, their furnaces haven't exploded. Once the pills are formed, even if they don't reach the level of a grade 3 spiritual pill, because they each added a grade 3 spiritual herb, the quality will far surpass that of an ordinary grade 2 pill. What do you have to compare with them? I love watching these face-slapping moments. The Immortal Path competition is the best show. Many insightful disciples were already looking forward to seeing Yang Fushuo, this pretentious show-off, get taught a lesson. Ideally, the top 3 in alchemy wouldn't even make it in. Meanwhile, the cultivators from the 12 great dynasties watching from outside could also see what was happening inside through the mirage technique used by the Daoyang cultivator. Among them, Li Yao, the most favored champion with a heavenly spiritual root, is also exceptionally skilled in all the arts of cultivation. His main focus is on formations. He is currently creating a second-grade formation, the inscription of which is extremely intricate. Moreover, this formation is his own creation, a composite formation that combines illusion and killing formations. It allows the enemy to be overwhelmed by a sudden killing move before their divine sense can detect the danger. He named this formation the Mist Shadow Killing Formation. With the materials supplied by the Cloud-Hidden Spiritual Sect, the carving speed is extremely fast, and half of the formation inscription has already been completed. It should be noted that if such an original formation is powerful, it will be a plus. Being able to invent is naturally better than following the rules. The elder leading the Sika dynasty nodded frequently, saying with a smug look, "This kid Li Yao has learned some basics. Cultivators from other dynasties, no, we didn't even praise you. Are you just trying to find a topic to talk about?" Many people wanted to despise him, but seeing that their disciples were indeed inferior to Li Yao, they had nothing to say. The Black Elder of the Silverland dynasty, a bit dim-witted, looked astonished. Is this just the tip of the iceberg? I think the complexity of this formation is almost on par with a third-grade formation. This is probably the limit a key refining cultivator can reach, right? The Elder of the Sea God dynasty, upon hearing this, smiled even more broadly. It's just average, not necessarily comparable to your outstanding disciples. Anyway, our Baji can't compare to Li Yao in this round. Hopefully, he can get a high score in the next round. Of course, the Elder of the Sea God dynasty felt that as Li Yao was about to reclaim the first place he lost in the first round. They naturally knew how powerful Li Yao's mist shadow killing formation was. Even a low-level foundation establishment cultivator who accidentally entered the formation would find it very troublesome, at least requiring some injury to escape. Li Zuoyang, listening to the Sea God dynasty elder's self-praise, curled his lip. The outcome is still unknown, let's start celebrating early. Meanwhile, Meng San was busy working with Shen Yao and the other disciples. Quickly calculate how many points Yang Fu can get at this yield. Can it surpass the score of a peak second-grade formation? Yang Fu harvested a large stack of spirit rice every day, piling it up high, which was particularly conspicuous compared to the empty fields of other cultivators. The second-generation hybrid spirit rice absorbed nutrients and spiritual energy from heaven and earth too quickly. The spiritual energy and nutrients in his own acre of spirit field were insufficient. A black hole of spiritual energy appeared on the field. The spiritual energy around other spirit plants was continuously flowing towards Yang Fu's field. The other cultivators working with spirit plants were astonished. Could this be done? In the following days, after noticing the mountain of spirit rice piled up at Yang Fu's field, the smile on the elder's face from the Sea God dynasty gradually disappeared. The cultivators from the Blazing Sun dynasty smiled happily. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. The 100 Arts of Cultivation challenge ended. When all the challenging cultivators gathered together to hand in their crafted items from the past 10 days, they saw Yang Fu dragging out a mountain of spirit rice. Chapter 144. A monster emerges from the Yang family. Over 20,000 jin of spirit rice. The moment the calculation results came out, everyone gasped. While quantity and quality are important, this quantity was simply too much. The cultivator who planted the lava flowers looked at the 51st grade lava flowers in his hand and silently lowered his head. A 10-year-old spirit herb would at most be a first grade, and could only be harvested once. Although the spiritual energy of the lava flowers was definitely much higher than that of spirit rice, 20,000 jin was still outrageous. Li Yao, holding a set of peak second-grade formations, was initially very confident, but seeing the mountain of spirit rice still made his heart tremble. How many points would that get? The Daoan cultivator didn't keep everyone waiting long, announcing the scores while everyone was filled with curiosity. Liang Dynasty, Yang Fu, planted 20,084 jin of spirit rice, score 899, wow. The entire Union spirit sect erupted in an uproar. Yang Fu's score was already the limit that a normal key refining stage cultivator could achieve. In the centuries-long history of the Immortal Path competition, only a handful of people have reached a score above 900. Each one is a prodigy with unique talent, destined to leave their mark on the myriad arts of cultivation. At this moment, Li Yao swayed slightly and fell silent. Still not good enough for the second round. Since birth, I have never encountered anyone with talent surpassing mine. This Yang Fu is a formidable opponent, very good. I'll look forward to our duel in the third round. He was not discouraged. Instead, he was even more motivated. On this path of cultivation, there were only those he could defeat now and those he could defeat in the future. This was the pride of the heavenly spiritual root. Sea God Dynasty, Li Yao, second rank formation, mist shadow killing formation, has reached its peak level. Score 897, he was only 2 points behind Yang Fu. But his formation was definitely not the problem, he was just a little short of breaking through to the third rank formation master. Wow! The entire audience gasped again, but with Yang Fu's brilliance before them, Li Yao, with his heavenly spiritual root, only became a tool to highlight how excellent Yang Fu was. Li Yao only scored 897 points, it seems Yang Fu is going to take first place again. Who do you think will be stronger in the third round if Yang Fu and Li Yao truly face off? It's hard to say. I think although Yang Fu cultivates the 5 elements, He's more skilled in fire magic, while Li Yao specializes in water magic, which counters Yang Fu. So there are too many variables in their moves, it's hard to predict. However, their scores are close. They were half a point apart in the first round, and 2 points apart in the second. If Li Yao can get just a little more points in the next round, he'll regain first place. Although the second round is over, the final outcome is still unknown. If we can roughly predict the first 2 rounds based on cultivation and skill, then the third round requires luck, strength, and intelligence. At this moment, everyone was already focusing on the third round challenge. After all, in their view, it was impossible for anyone to surpass Yang Fu's 899 points. Because the requirement for 900 points was a finished product of grade 3 or higher. Several high-ranking cultivators from the Cloud Hidden Spirit sect were using the Immortal Spirit Scale to evaluate each item, and it was Yang Fu's turn at that moment. Take out the pills you've refined. Before entering, the cultivators had all passed through the restrictions, their storage artifacts were confiscated, and they wouldn't carry any pills with them. They could only refine them using the provided materials. Of course, some cultivators could bring in their own pill furnaces and hammers, since their own tools were more convenient and could improve the quality. So there was no need to worry about cultivators preparing finished pills in advance to fool the system. Yang Fushuo opened his palm, revealing 6 pills engraved with dense golden patterns. In an instant, the fragrance of the pills filled the entire evaluation area. The rich spiritual energy fluctuations attracted everyone's attention. This was the unique spiritual energy of a third-grade pill. What pills? Let me see. A golden core stage-old monster who had been watching from above couldn't resist and flew over on his gourd. He took out a pill, a blush rising on his face. It really is a grade 3 spirit pill. Is this the fiery cloud spirit aperture pill? As an old alchemist, he was intimately familiar with the unique pills of the Blazing Sun dynasty. This feeling was that of a pill that could temporarily allow a cultivator to unleash a power beyond their cultivation level. Among grade 3 pills, it was the well-known Fiery Cloud Spirit Aperture Pill. Not quite. This is actually an advanced version of the Burning Spirit True Fire Pill. Isn't it the Fiery Cloud Spirit Aperture Pill? Don't think I don't know your Danhero Sex Pill formula. The pill ingredients are slightly different. This grade 3 Fiery Cloud Spirit Aperture Pill increases cultivation by 30 years, and is more explosive, but not lasting. The grade 3 Burning Spirit True Fire Pill increases cultivation while also lasting longer, but without such explosive overdraft. It can probably increase cultivation by about 20 years. Is this your Danhero Sex new pill formula? It's pretty much the same as the old one. The only difference is my liquefied natural gas and magical artifact. This golden core cultivator didn't dwell on the subtle differences and placed the pill on the Immortal Spirit Scale. Yang Fushuo of the Blazing Sun dynasty has refined a grade 3 pill, the advanced version of the Burning Spirit True Fire Pill, with a score of 901. Wow! A clamor erupted. The prodigies who had already prepared for the third round turned to look at Yang Fushuo. A grade 3 pill? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The immortal spirit must have made a mistake. A key refining cultivator doesn't have a Dao Foundation True Fire. How could he possibly produce a grade 3 pill? It's fake. I felt something was off in the first round. This Yang Fushuo must have a problem. He's probably the illegitimate son of an elder of the Cloud Hidden Spirit sect. Slap. A Daoan cultivator unleashed a slap imbued with the power of heaven and earth, sending the cultivator flying, spitting blood and falling unconscious. Spreading rumors and misleading the masses, expelled from the Immortal Path competition, the Golden Core cultivator's display of power instantly calmed the participants from the 12 dynasties. They then remembered that they were participating from a superior sect, not as inferior cultivators. These past few days, the local disciples of the Cloud Hidden Spirit sect looked at them with mockery and amusement, as if watching a magnificent performance. Only true prodigies like Li Yao and Yang Fu, who had the potential to become one of them in the future, were given a second glance. The Daoan cultivator coldly swept his gaze across them. I reiterate, the Immortal Path competition is fair and just. It has always been so. Anyone who speaks nonsense without understanding will be treated like him. A genius is someone who surpasses the understanding of ordinary people. If someone is like most people, can they still be called a genius? In the past, there have been third-grade individuals in the Immortal Path competition. What's so surprising about that? The Daoan cultivator's words silenced all the cultivators from the lower dynasties. A score of 900 or above is third grade, 901 points is also third grade. At this moment, everyone knew that Yang Fushuo of the Liang dynasty was a third-grade alchemist at the third level of key refining. Seeing everyone looking at him, Yang Fushuo naturally waved to everyone. I owe everything I have today to my own hard work. Work hard, and you can be like me too. Whether you're a third-rank cultivator or not isn't important. The most important thing is this heart that yearns for the Dao. The cultivators below were instantly inspired. Yes, they were all cultivators from the 12 dynasties. Perhaps they couldn't catch up with Yang Fushuo. Yang Fushuo's words earned him a lot of goodwill from these cultivators. However, there was one thing Yang Fushuo didn't mention. The premise is that you also have an ancestor who can bestow heavenly grade spiritual fire. Yang Fushuo's true motto was only 4 words, ancestor. Give me some. He was the one in the Yang family who was most adept at using the blessings bestowed by their ancestors. Yang Genshuo listened to Yang Fushuo's speech, his face darkening. You've got some nerve, kid, but you passed this hurdle again. You truly deserve to be called the twin stars of the Yang family. This time, the two brothers once again took the top 2 spots. At this moment, everyone realized what was going on. No, the Yang family has produced monsters. 2 prodigies. Who knows the background of the Yang family of the Liang dynasty? How did they cultivate these cultivators? Could they be some ancient cultivation family? At this moment, everyone in the Liang dynasty was deep in thought. Historically, which immortal clan with the surname Yang had ever been glorious? Li Zuoyang and Meng San both decided that they must pay a proper visit to the Yang family after returning. Seeing that the dust had settled, the Daoyan cultivator announced, the third stage of the Immortal Path competition, the Dragon-Seeking Secret Realm, will open in 7 days. Go and prepare. Looking at the pitifully few chapters updated, I couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Why are there fewer updates on Sunday? Is it a distortion of human nature or a decline in morality? Chapter 145. This challenge, let the ancestor handle it. The 7 days of rest were like the prelude to a storm. Cultivators from all the dynasties ceased their exchanges and communications. Even the cloud-hidden spirit sect stopped their visits and began final strategic adjustments. That's right, the final test will not only test your individual abilities but also the overall strength and fortune of each dynasty. If you want to get a high score, you must unite with your fellow disciples and fight side by side. Don't be fooled by the fact that our Danhero sect and Tenhero sect are like fire and water. Master, Yang Fushuo raised his hand. It should be like fire and water, right? Li Zuoyang glanced at him. One of us 10 cultivators cultivates water? Are you one? I'm not. Then that's settled. Who among the proper Liang people cultivates water? That makes sense. So, is there a problem with me saying we're like fire and water? No problem. Master, you're so adaptable. Yang Fushuo lost his first argument with his master, and he accepted it wholeheartedly. Ahem. Let me continue from Elder Zuoyang's words. There's a lot of competition between the 2 sects within our Liang dynasty, but it's all about cultivation, skills, and resources. There's no real grudge. The 2 sects originally came from the same lineage, so please don't have any animosity. You must cooperate sincerely in the final round. Let's secure a good ranking for our Liang dynasty. We can't let Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo's efforts in the first 2 rounds go to waste. In the final round, we must make a name for our Liang dynasty, Li Zuoyang declared emphatically. So, we can reduce our offerings by 10% for the next 10 years, right? Yang Fushuo said quietly. If you get into the top 3, each of you can choose 1 treasure from our Danhero sect's treasury after you go back. Everyone, wow, the Danhero sect's treasury is full of good stuff. Grade 3 spiritual herbs, Grade 3 immortal pills, and various magic treasures and array flags, representing the foundation of the Danhero sect. Who wouldn't want to go? Even Shi Hong, the dual spiritual root prodigy second only to Yang Fushuo, couldn't hide the excitement on his face. Originally, he should have been the strongest cultivator in the Blazing Sun dynasty, but he was overshadowed by the brilliance of the Yang brothers, Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo. Everyone pays attention to the top 3, but no one remembers the 6th place. Shi Hong was the one ranked 6th overall. Above him were Li Yao of the Siga dynasty with a heavenly spiritual root, Feng Lingchen of the Sky Garden with a different spiritual root, and Baji, the strong man with 2 spiritual roots from the Silver Earth dynasty. With Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo added to the list, Shi Hong was just right to rank 6th, belonging to the top tier of cultivators who were the most capable in the Immortal Path competition. As for the True Fire sect, just as Meng San had said before, There was a lack of promising young talents. There was a female cultivator with 2 spiritual roots, Leng Li, who was only ranked 12th, and the others were even worse off, having been left behind. After hearing the promise from the Genshuo sect, Yang Fu and Leng Li looked at Meng San expectantly. Alright, stop looking. The reward I'll apply for you when we get back is only better than that of the Genshuo sect. Okay, Elder Meng is very generous. Yang Fu was very satisfied. After the encouragement, they continued to discuss strategy. The so-called dragon-seeking secret realm is a secluded secret realm within the cloud-hidden spirit sect. It contains all sorts of materials and magical treasures. You can find everything you need there to defeat other cultivators. The last person to survive until the very end is the champion. If you are defeated midway, you will be teleported out. Your score will be based on the amount of treasure you find, your survival time, and the number of cultivators you defeat. Therefore, this stage absolutely requires cooperation. By combining your strength, you can defeat more enemies, seize their spoils, improve your overall strength, and survive to the end, so you must cooperate sincerely. The 10 disciples all nodded. Shi Huang then raised his hand and asked, Master, our entry point into the dragon-seeking secret realm is random, and the dragon-seeking secret realm is extremely large, no less than our Blazing Sun dynasty. Without being able to bring a location-tracking magical treasure, how will we find our fellow disciples? They already knew the rules. Each person could only bring 1 magical treasure and a few days' worth of rations. Afterwards, they would have to rely entirely on themselves. Finding fellow disciples in such a vast secret realm is as difficult as finding an ant in a city. Here we have our own way. Through the exploration of generations of disciples, we've gained some understanding of the dragon-seeking secret realm. There's a special terrain called the Starfire Tree Sea, which illuminates an area at night and often contains fire-type spiritual objects. Find a way to reach the Starfire Tree Sea and gather there. Hearing their plan, Yang Genshuo's lips curled slightly. If that's all, then getting into the top 3 is still too difficult. 4 capable fighters carrying 6 burdens. If they encounter cultivators from other dynasties, it'll be hard to gain any advantage. But thankfully, this level is perfect for me. Form a team, find treasures, and survive to the end. Isn't this just a team-based PUBG competition? Don't you know what the biggest cheat in this game is? Yang Genshuo even played a couple of PUBG matches yesterday. He encountered a cheater in his team who typed a line that shocked his 3 teammates for the entire day. My mom died a long time ago, come with me, I've got X-ray vision. Then he directly led Yang Genshuo to a smooth victory. 5-star critic General MacArthur commented, the death of his loved ones made him see through many things, and this dragon-seeking secret realm was Yang Genshuo's home turf. Let the ancestor handle this level. 7 days later, all the disciples of the cloud-hidden spirit sect gathered in the sect square. Above them was a water curtain, showing the scene of the dragon-seeking secret realm. This array, constructed by golden core cultivators, could broadcast the scene inside at any time. The non-participating cultivators of the 12 dynasties were also invited to the square to watch the competition. This level was the most exciting in the entire Immortal Path competition. Even the disciples who usually preferred to cultivate in seclusion were called over by their masters to watch the battle. Master, what's so interesting about a group of key refining stage cultivators fighting? I've already reached foundation establishment. Watching them is like watching children playing around. A bearded and unkempt cultivator said impatiently. His golden core master sneered, if you think the final stage of the Immortal Path competition is just about watching 100-odd key refining cultivators fight, then you're underestimating this competition that has endured for hundreds of years. This is a complete secret realm adventure, including survival, treasure hunting, humanity, and intrigue. This is the most realistic scene in the cultivation world. High cultivation doesn't necessarily mean longevity. Some disciples even eliminate their fellow disciples for higher scores. You cultivate in your sects daily and have never witnessed the methods of cultivators from the lower realms. This is your best opportunity to learn. Don't fall into their traps in the future. The disciples who had never seen the Immortal Path competition gasped. Most of them thought it was just an ordinary battle where the one with higher cultivation would win and the one with lower cultivation would be eliminated. They hadn't expected it to be so complex. I see. That was because my comprehension was insufficient. I will follow Master's teachings. The cultivator in seclusion bowed earnestly. HMPH, is it just a lack of comprehension? Do you really think these cultivators who have cultivated to such a level in such a barren place as the 12 dynasties are only at the key refining stage? Don't be fooled by your current foundation establishment. Even if I put you in the top 10, you'd have a hard time getting in. What? How is that possible? Are they really that powerful? The disciple looked incredulous. Let's begin and see. The Dao Yang cultivator activated the teleportation array, and the disciples of the 12 dynasties entered the dragon-seeking secret realm, each landing in different locations. Chapter 146 My eyes are the ruler. On the grand plaza of the cloud-hidden spirit sect, the images of each cultivator appeared in the water curtain. Their every move was being broadcast live to everyone present. The Golden Core elders weren't with their disciples. Instead, they sat in the clouds, having prepared tables laden with fine wine and delicacies, ready to enjoy this grand event. After seeing his disciples off, the Dao Yang cultivator quickly flew back. Give me a good spot, and another jar of divine intoxication. This once-in-a-decade moment of joy can't be missed. The other Golden Core elders chimed in with agreement. This kind of program is so interesting, a rare joy on the path of cultivation. Every time I watch it, it reminds me of the time I participated in the competition more than 200 years ago, when I was just a greenhorn. Senior Brother Guo, your greenhorn phantom is still on the 9 heavens ladder, floor 701, and was instantly killed by Yang Fu in one move. The refined Senior Brother Guo looked helpless. I told you I wasn't in good condition that day, and I only learned the basics of the spells. Also, the sunlight was too bright. The clouds were filled with a joyful atmosphere again. Murin Ziyan stood quietly behind, her eyes fixed on Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo in the water screen. Walking out of your Yang family's immortal path, Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo landed in 2 different places, and Yang Genshuo, who had been prepared all along, had already assigned the screens. He had the best view of the 2 screens, ensuring that he could see everything immediately. Yang Fu enters the dragon-seeking secret realm. First time entering this secret realm, knowledge increased, incense offering plus 20. Opening a new map increases incense offerings, an old tradition. Yang Genshuo ignored that and looked directly at the map. Maps were left of every place the Yang family members had traversed, which he could check at any time. At this moment, Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo were surrounded by black mist, indicating they hadn't been explored yet. It's a pity they're not close enough, otherwise, it would be clear from the map. Since luck hadn't struck, he'd stick to the proper strategy he'd devised. First step, map exploration. Other cultivators had to cautiously explore their surroundings, ensuring there were no attacks from demonic beasts, special traps, or ambushes from other cultivators. But for Yang Genshuo, that didn't exist. My eyes are my ruler, charge. Yang Genshuo gave his 2 descendants full buffs. Having already received their ancestors' instructions, they immediately started running following the arrows that appeared in the air. Yang Fushuo channeled his spiritual power, running briskly, looking quite content. It's a kind of carefree joy. Yang Fu, on the other hand, followed his cheat code while observing the environment. The dragon-seeking realm is a place of the 5 elements cycle. I arrived here in a land of metal and stone, which contains hidden sharpness. If you search carefully, you should be able to find 1 or 2 usable weapons. Here. There's a 3rd-grade talisman, the sword rain technique. Following the ancestors' instructions, Yang Fu found a 3rd-grade talisman inside a lamp in a mine. This was a 3rd-grade attack talisman comparable to a foundation establishment stage strike. Everyone was only allowed 1 magic weapon upon entering, practically starting from scratch. This single 3rd-grade talisman could eliminate a contestant. And it was found so easily? No. This person is suspicious. This talisman was hidden so well, and there was no spiritual energy fluctuation. How did he find it? A Yunnan spiritual sect disciple pointed at Yang Fu's water screen, seeing this extremely illogical scene, and immediately stood up. The other Yunnan spiritual sect disciples who were watching Yang Fu nodded in agreement. Yes. First of all, the mines are dark and deep, often harboring demonic beasts. Cultivators dare not enter easily, and even if they do, they will be extremely cautious, carefully observing the interior. How could they possibly notice a rusty miner's lamp, right? Not to mention, the talisman inside the lamp is just like ordinary oiled paper, soaked in oil. How did he find it like that? This person is really suspicious. Has any elder investigated him? If so, I'm afraid I won't be able to convince the public. The elders from other dynasties didn't dare to say this outright, but they also expressed their doubts. The Daoyan cultivator was sitting on a small jade stool, drinking spiritual wine and singing. Hearing the commotion below, he was speechless. Why are there so many problems in this year's Immortal Path competition? Alright, it's Yang Fu again. I knew it was you. He was constantly being questioned. However, this time everyone's words were reasonable. The Daoyan cultivator used his immortal technique, and a cloud of mist transformed into a scene flowing before him. Yang Fu's route and the circulation of spiritual energy replayed before his eyes. He saw Yang Fu running and suddenly paused, then stopped and looked towards the cave. Spiritual perception. Yang Fu is likely a cultivator with extraordinary spiritual perception. He can sense treasures, Dao Yang explained. Moreover, seeing that Yang Fu hadn't cheated, everyone had no choice but to give up. Then wouldn't Yang Fu find treasures more easily than others? This kid is not easy to deal with in this dragon-seeking secret realm. Besides one's own strength, the cultivator who obtains more treasures within a month will have a greater advantage, but it's not bad. Look at Baji from the Silverland dynasty. He used earth elemental magic to find a high-grade magic weapon armor from the Yellow Springs soil. His start was quite smooth, but in the end, it still depends on everyone's luck. Not only Yang Fu, but a few lucky cultivators also found one or two useful spiritual items at their birthplace. The treasures they obtained were gathered into a small icon and hung below their water screen image, letting all the cultivators know what everyone had found. Just watch the match properly, don't make a fuss and bother me. Dao Yang cultivator left a warning before returning to his cloud to drink and watch the battle. The match continued. Yang Fushuo's route was even more interesting. He consistently sought out areas with abundant spiritual energy. Manifestation. There's a second-grade spiritual herb here, violet flower. There's a lump of fire essence buried under that rock over there, in the water. Kill that giant fish. Its weak point is the back of its neck, and there's a patch of second-grade water condensation flower underneath, and on the big tree to your right. Yang Fushuo frantically collected various spiritual herbs, stuffing them into his flame soul furnace ring. Beneath his water curtain, a large pile of diverse spiritual herb symbols accumulated, leaving everyone dumbfounded. No, what's he doing gathering herbs? Is he planning to take them back to make some money? Things from the dragon-seeking secret realm can't be taken out of the country. If he takes them all, how will the disciples participating in the next competition use them? Wait, he's a third-grade alchemist. Could he be planning to refine pills here? How is that possible? Running around like this, he might not even find the herbs he needs for his pill formula in a month. How could he possibly refine pills? Cultivators are most vulnerable during pill refining. If they are ambushed, it'll probably end the competition immediately. He doesn't even have a pill furnace. What will he use to refine pills? What a joke. Although Yang Fushuo was rapidly accumulating wealth, even surpassing Yang Fu, he didn't have many items to increase his combat power. In fact, all of his possessions were less useful than a single high-grade earth elemental magic weapon armor belonging to Baji. Everyone was confused, thinking Yang Fushuo was wasting his time. Only his master, Li Zuoyang, seemed to understand a little. Disciple, could it be that you're going to? The thought of that possibility made his heart tighten. Yang Fushuo hasn't yet demonstrated his bare-handed alchemy skills in front of the Yunnan Spirit Sect members. Of course, his bare-handed alchemy isn't necessarily safe. Without a sturdy alchemy furnace for protection, the power is, well, let's just say that since Yang Fushuo went to the Genshuo sect, Yaoyin Peak has seen many newly opened cave dwellings, which can accommodate more disciples. Chapter 147 Accumulate grain and delay claiming kingship. Guided by their ancestor, the brothers Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo explored at breakneck speed, their pace a stark contrast to the cautious advances of other cultivators. The difference was stark. Other cultivators would first use their divine sense to survey the surrounding terrain, identifying potential treasures, then carefully observe for any demonic beasts, considering their potential escape routes should they encounter enemies, before cautiously approaching their destination, constantly alert and prepared to give up at any moment. After all, survival was their ultimate goal. Earning more points was less important than simply surviving to the end. Those who survived to the end received full marks. Only eliminated contestants were scored based on their performance. The brothers Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo, however, had no such worries. They ran along, collecting every treasure they encountered, and even when encountering demonic beasts, they quickly found their weaknesses and subdued them. Yang Fu obtained a second-grade formation manual, the Mountain Mystery Diagram. Yang Fu also found a bottle of rejuvenation pills. Yang Fu defeated a lava demon and found its treasure, obtaining a set of superior grade magic artifacts called Fire General. He was fully armed from head to toe, and also had a fire-type palm leaf fen magic artifact that could enhance the power of fire-type spells. Huh? No, how come Yang Fu seems to have all the equipment on the first day? I see many cultivators shivering in the cold wind wearing only thin trousers. With this equipment, he can not only instantly kill those of the same level, but also fight those of higher levels. Damn it, there's an unlucky cultivator from the Silverland dynasty who's very close to Yang Fu. If he runs into him, he'll be instantly killed. Yang Fu's rise to power was like riding a flying sword. In a flash, he was fully equipped. Meanwhile, the black cultivator from the Baji dynasty saw Yang Fu from afar and immediately hid in the shadows of a rock crevice, closed his eyes, and his aura instantly disappeared, merging with the rock. This person's concealment technique is incredibly powerful, completely devoid of life. Even a spiritual sense would mistake him for an inanimate object. Moreover, the people of the Silverland dynasty are exceptionally gifted. As long as they don't smile, they can hide in the darkness, making them difficult to spot even face to face, like ghosts in the night. Yang Fu looked at the golden finger above the cultivator's hiding place, and the character card. Nothing was more conspicuous. Liquefied natural gas. He brandished his Fire General fan, unleashing a surge of eerie purple flames that plunged directly into the rock crevices, trapping him like a turtle in a jar. Heavenly grade life fire, capable of alchemy and combat, could kill with a single thought. This black-clad cultivator from the Silverland dynasty was no match for Yang Fu, who was empowered by magical artifacts, and was powerless to resist. With nowhere to run, his defenses were torn apart, triggering a teleportation array. A white light appeared. Silverland dynasty cultivator Ramlateral has been eliminated by Yang Fu. A solemn voice echoed from the water curtain, announcing the first elimination. A flash of white light filled the plaza. Ramlateral was frantically patting the flames off his body, realizing he had been eliminated. How did he find me? The cultivators from the 12 dynasties gasped. Only the first day, Yang Fu has already started his rampage. It's terrifying. I've never heard of someone with such talent. His spiritual senses are extremely sharp. Cultivators who encounter him shouldn't even think about hiding. Fight with all your might, or you'll only be unilaterally suppressed. Hurry up and gather your magic treasures, or you won't be able to defeat Yang Fu. The crowd erupted in discussion again, while Muran Ziyan, sitting on a cloud, nodded in satisfaction. Decisive in killing, a good prospect. I think so too. This Yang Fu is clearly a prodigy, second only to you, junior sister. Such an exciting match, junior sister. Would you like a cup of divine intoxication to watch slowly? A Daoyan cultivator approached, his face full of flattery. No, thank you. Muran Ziyan slightly turned away, continuing to watch the two from the Yang family. Compared to Yang Fu's fast-paced gameplay of hacking and slashing, Yang Fushuo's side was much calmer, still collecting herbs. The map is slowly being drawn. The day Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo reunite will be the day things stabilize. Yang Genshuo gulped down a Red Bull, his hands flying across the keyboard and mouse, almost creating afterimages. With his current stamina and energy, he didn't really need a Red Bull, but, without a couple of bottles while playing games all night, Yang Genshuo felt uneasy. Having already reached the 5th level of body tempering, his abilities in all aspects had improved significantly. His focus and hand speed were extremely fast, even faster than those of professional esports players. Multitasking, his operations were still very smooth. It feels like I'm back in the days of playing Warcraft. On his screen, the two little figures of Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo were constantly exploring for treasures, obtaining one item after another. This was reflected on the water screen as the treasure icons under Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo's screens increasing, far ahead of the other challenging cultivators. Even Li Yao, the most talented among them, couldn't find a fraction of the treasures Yang Fu had collected. Wait, did these two come to my Union Spirit sect to buy more? What are they going to do with so many? Can you even control that many magic weapons? Are they even useful? How strange. The places they went through were left with nothing but ferocious demonic beasts. Are they even useful? Li Zuoyang and Meng San exchanged a glance. That's incredibly useful. Yang Fu alone collected all the magic weapons from our entire Liang dynasty team. After gathering them, we can go and drive out the cultivators from other dynasties. Yang Fushuo found a lot of familiar herbs, enough to make a second grade, Burning Spirit True Fire Pill, that's incredible. It can be used to fight across 1 or 2 minor realms. You're talking about 2nd grade. Don't forget my disciple Genshuo is a 3rd grade alchemist. Seeing this, the smiles on the faces of the cultivators from other dynasties vanished, replaced by those of the Liang dynasty cultivators. Huh? There's another fragment of a treasure here? Pick it up first. How come Yang Genshuo has the same fragment here too? Pick it up, maybe we can piece it together. Good heavens, a Foundation establishment stage demon. Quickly avoid it. If you touch it you'll be seriously injured if you're not beaten out. Pick up low-grade magic weapons too. What are you keeping them for? To give to other cultivators? Quick, take them all. Under Yang Genshuo's command, Yang Fu and Yang Genshuo strip all the treasures they passed through, leaving not a single fragment. 3 days later, the challenging cultivators gradually adapted to this place, and their activity range increased considerably, but the number of treasures they could find was decreasing. In some areas, there wasn't even a single treasure. Baji relied on his earth essence treasure technique to keep searching for treasures buried in the ground, but when he walked along the path Yang Fu had taken, he found nothing. Huh? Did they forget to put treasures in this area? The other cultivators who followed the same route as Yang Fu and Yang Genshuo fell into deep self-doubt. Something's not right. That's not what Immortal Venerable Dao Yang said. Could it be too well hidden? Haven't I searched enough? Everyone's picked all the spiritual fruits from these trees. I'm starving. At this moment, the Golden Core cultivator's faces darkened. That Yang Genshuo eats the meat, but he won't even give the other disciples a drop of soup. Well, he goes. Not a blade of grass grows. These worthless spiritual fruits, you can't finish them all. Why did you pick them all? He killed the weak demonic beasts, and the strong ones are too tough for others to beat, yet he still picked the spiritual fruits. I think he wants to starve the other cultivators to death. Yang Fu and Yang Genshuo acted too fast. They didn't have time to think at all, they just recklessly charged. And they even avoided all the dangerous demonic beasts. The cultivator Dao Yang couldn't sleep for the past 2 nights. After carefully watching the recording for half the night, he finally discerned words in the footage, 4 large characters written on the water screen. Divine assistance. I think even spiritual perception can't describe it. It would take the smoke rising from their ancestral graves to guide them. No, I have to go find the sect leader. The cultivator Dao Yang couldn't even sit still. He vaguely regretted expelling a questioning cultivator a few days ago, because at this moment, he had the same thought in his mind. Could these 2 be the sect leader's illegitimate children? It's like they were trying to navigate a dungeon with a map. In the palace in the clouds, the sect leader was looking at the mirror in the sky, which reflected the appearance of the dragon seeking secret realm. Sect leader, I know why you've come, but this is definitely not cheating. I suspect it might be a long-lost secret technique of the Immortal clan. Oh? What kind of secret technique? The incense offering and fortune technique is a technique where the Immortal clan accumulates incense offerings from generations to bestow upon a single descendant, making them invincible and divinely aided in all their endeavors. This technique is extremely taxing on the family's fortune, often requiring multiple generations to produce a person with great fortune. Such a wondrous technique exists in the world. The Cloud Hidden Spirit sect has only been established for 1,000 years, while some immortal clans have been passed down from ancient times. Don't underestimate the heroes of the world. These 2 must have extraordinary backgrounds. I understand. 10 days passed quickly, and Yang Fu and Yang Genshuo were still stockpiling goods. By this time, both of them had mounted flying mounts, making their search even faster. They must have dozens of sets of good items on them. All the other cultivators combined didn't have as many as the 2 of them. As Yang Genshuo picked spirit fruits, he muttered to himself, when will I be able to leave the mountain? Spiritual apparition, don't rush, accumulate resources before claiming kingship. There is still one great treasure in this secret realm that has not yet been obtained. After you gather in the Starfire Tree Sea, go and seize this treasure together, and then you can act freely. Yang Genshuo felt a strong urge to try it, but dared not speak carelessly. After all, everyone outside was watching them. He muttered to himself, what treasures are still yet to be found? Chapter 148 The 6 Heroes of the Blazing Sun. How can the dragon-seeking realm be without dragons? Yang Genshuo chuckled. On this screen, the map of the dragon-seeking realm was nearly complete by the 2 brothers, and they would soon meet in the final battle. These 2 kids are born at opposite edges of the dragon-seeking realm. After exploring the surrounding areas, they can meet in the center of the map to find the boss. The boss, of course, is a dragon. While Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo were resting, Yang Genshuo had been eavesdropping on the conversations of the cloud-hidden spirit sect. The Golden Core cultivators' conversations were naturally protected by restrictions, blocking the prying eyes of all cultivators below the Golden Core stage, but not Yang Genshuo, who was playing a cultivation simulator. Currently, Yang Genshuo's visible range was a spherical space of 1,000 meters around the Yang family members, and he could often hear the Golden Core cultivators chatting in the sky. In front of their disciples, they were dignified and profound masters, ancestors, and elders. But in private, they were just like ordinary cultivators, enjoying a drink, a meal, watching the excitement, and gossiping about cultivation world anecdotes. Yang Genshuo heard some interesting tales about the dragon-seeking secret realm. This secret realm was discovered by the first sect leader of the Yunnan spiritual sect during his travels, and it was the dwelling place of a giant dragon. Dragons love treasures, collecting everything regardless of size. The treasures within the dragon-seeking secret realm were all collected by this giant dragon from its earliest days. From a few first-grade talismans and a few broken spirit fruit trees, to human cultivators' magical artifacts and various rare and precious materials, everything was part of the dragon's collection. The reason nothing could be taken out of the dragon-seeking secret realm wasn't the Yunnan spiritual sect's rule, but the dragon's rule. It forbade anyone to take anything. However, it was said that whoever found the dwelling place of the giant dragon would receive its blessing. 500 years ago, a prodigy with exceptional luck found the dragon's location, received its blessing, and directly won first place in that year's competition. So, just to be on the safe side, Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo must find the giant dragon, and win first place in the Immortal Path competition. First place, aside from other rewards, means direct entry into the Yunnan spiritual sect. There's even a chance to lead the entire family to migrate to the Yunnan spiritual sect. This is an immense opportunity for the Yang family. If you do this well, the whole Yang family will benefit. Even the servants' quarters at the Yunnan spiritual sect are much better than those in the Liang dynasty and the Donai dynasty, significantly increasing their overall cultivation speed. Yang Genshuo observed that even ordinary disciples of the Yunnan spiritual sect have cultivation levels comparable to the geniuses gathered from the 12 dynasties, proving the immense influence of blessed lands on cultivators. Because they were born in Rome. The Yang family, too, will be born in Rome. 2 days later, Yang Fu, Yang Fushuo, Shi Hong, Leng Li, and 2 disciples from the Liang dynasty met in the Starfire Tree Sea. Bang! Yang Fu first saw off one cultivator from another dynasty, and the entire Starfire Tree Sea was now theirs. Finally, we've gathered. The other 4 fellow cultivators are probably already eliminated. Leng Li frowned slightly. It's alright. If we can make it to the end, our Liang dynasty will definitely be in the top 3. Have you all found any good treasures these days? I have quite a few here, and I can share some with you. Shi Hong was slightly smug. He considered his luck to be exceptionally good. He had picked up a lot of equipment, killed several lone cultivators from other sects, and taken many treasures from them, accumulating a considerable amount. Not only was he fully armed, but he also had a little left over. Yang Genshuo looked in the direction Shi Hong had come from and nodded. Completely avoided Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo's route. No wonder they found good things. Any cultivator whose route overlapped with those 2 brothers would get nothing. Some people even followed Yang Fushuo around, and finally, they were so hungry that they triggered the teleportation array. Seeing Shi Hong's smug expression, Yang Fu nodded. Senior brother Shi is indeed impressive. Receiving Yang Fu's praise, Shi Hong humbly said, I was thinking of everyone, so I found a few extra. Please choose from these treasures. He released his 3 extra magical artifacts, allowing the others to choose. Leng Li, as a cultivator second only to Shi Hong, didn't hold back and immediately picked up a high-grade magical artifact longbow. I've practiced archery. This longbow will be perfect for supporting you from the rear. A cultivator's archery skills unleash magical attacks, far more powerful than those of a martial artist. Oh? Then senior sister, take these purple bone arrows. Activating them with spiritual power will unleash mind-altering fluctuations. Here are also 10 talismans to enhance weapons. You take these too. I also have a pair of high-grade magical artifact gloves to enhance senior sister's longbow activation, and these pills. Yang Fu pulled a handful of items from his pocket and stuffed them into Leng Li's arms. In no time, Leng Li was fully armed to the teeth, equipped with 2 sets of magical artifacts for both active and passive defense. Her clothes were filled with talismans and pills, And she had 2 sets of formations at her waist, one for offense and one for defense. She even carried several bottles of goo worms for surprise attacks. Junior brother, even if you took all your possessions outside, you wouldn't be this well equipped, let alone treasure hunting here. Even a cultivator who had just entered the key refining stage could fight a key refining grand perfection cultivator with this setup. It would take a foundation establishment cultivator a lot of effort to kill her. Shi hung beside her. Brother, is this a secret realm you own? The other disciples looked at Lang Li with envy. Senior sister, you could even fight with a spirit rug tied to your gear. Lang Li, what does that mean? Is he insulting you or praising my equipment? Yang Fu, don't rush, you get one too. Everyone. Yang Fu then equipped the other 2 junior brothers at the 9th level of key refining, nodding in satisfaction. That's more like our Liang dynasty's team. Very spirited, Shi Hong was startled, then cautiously asked, Senior brother Yang, I'm still missing a few protective jade pendants, fill it up. Yang Fu casually divided the spoils, fully equipping the remaining 6 cultivators of the Liang dynasty. Each of them radiated a purely spiritual aura. Meanwhile, Yang Fushu, who loved to show off, hadn't uttered a sound since they joined, refining pills with his bare hands. Pills complete, he flicked his hands with spiritual fire, collecting 6 pills. Burning spirit true fire pills, before anyone could properly admire them, Yang Fushu stored them in his flame soul furnace ring. Then he refined more, racing against time to replenish their pill supplies. There were no wild grade 3 pills in this secret realm, but Yang Fushu could refine them. Grade 3 burning spirit true fire pills could increase everyone's cultivation by 20 years. This continued for a whole day. As long as I have enough pills, one pill after another will be equivalent to a stable 20 years of cultivation, Yang Fushu muttered, frantically refining pills. Yang Fu grabbed him and put him on his golden feathered bird. Let's go, let's finish this last thing. Others didn't know the dragon's location, but Yang Genshuo knew. Because that damn huge spirit buried in the ground was far more conspicuous than these tiny people. At this moment, seeing the heavily armed 6 heroes of the Blazing Sun dynasty, the cultivators from the 10 dynasties watching the competition outside fell silent. Wait, who can beat these people now? Why are the Blazing Sun dynasty people having so much fun in this competition? I'll give him 1,000 spirit stones and let me in for a while. Yang Fuzian is inhuman. He's already got so many treasures, and now he's armed so many people. Who can beat them? Alice. It's a pity the cultivators inside don't know the current situation. Hopefully, they won't underestimate the Blazing Sun dynasty people. Right now, those 6 are the most terrifying force in the dragon-seeking secret realm. Damn it, the elders of the Sky Garden dynasty were shocked by what they saw. Besides the Blazing Sun dynasty cultivators who had completed their reunion, the Sky Garden cultivators were all of the same clan, and some with wind spirit roots knew how to read the wind and locate enemies, allowing them to gather their family's strength even earlier. Now they were rapidly launching an attack, using their superior strength to eliminate the cultivators from other dynasties. They were invincible. At this moment, they were heading towards the Starfire Tree Sea. Chapter 149 Destroying the Fen Clan, Searching for the Giant Dragon. Our advantage lies in the wind spirit root within our family. Those with this root can fly on the wind during the key refining stage, giving us a speed far exceeding others in exploration and resource gathering. Therefore, we must seize this advantageous time to eliminate them all, no matter who we encounter. At this moment, none can contend with our 10 strength, and their magical treasures are ours, seizing the initiative. This was the strategy of the Feng family cultivators from the Sky Garden. Only those in the foundation establishment stage can fly on objects, and the Feng family is a wind spirit root immortal clan. Wind spirit root cultivators are frequently born into the family. Relying on the unique nature of their unique spirit root, they far surpass other 5 elemental cultivators in the key refining stage, building a formidable fortune. The current Sky Garden dynasty is completely ruled by the Feng family, who gather the resources of an entire dynasty to supply one immortal clan, providing them with excellent cultivation resources. This time, there are full 7 wind spirit root cultivators participating, along with 3 others with exceptionally outstanding fire spirit root talents. They had assembled a week ago, eliminating over 20 prodigies along the way. Many dynasties suffered losses, but the Feng family remained at its peak, growing stronger with the spoils of war. But, why are some cultivators so unlucky? Not a single magic weapon. We've only got nothing, Just unlucky ones, huh? Ahead, there are many auras in the wind, cultivators, at least 5, ha ha ha. Here comes the fat meat, everyone prepare for battle. Wait, the elder said we should play it safe. Try to find 1 or 2 isolated cultivators. Is that right this time? HMPH, they've already gathered together. Will they split up again? While we have a huge advantage with our treasures, we must eliminate these potential threats to claim the throne. Senior brother Chen is right. This time, I want our Feng family to occupy the top 10. Feng Lingjun, arrogant and radiant, his undisguised ambition and confidence giving him a unique charm. Even the female cultivators in the group couldn't help but feel a secret stirring of affection. Such prodigies have always been the object of admiration for female cultivators. Feng Lingjun was already considering how to reject the countless female cultivators from the Cloud Hidden Spirit sect after this battle. This is probably the trouble of a prodigy like me. Senior brother Chen, they're here, charge. When their divine senses swept over the 6 figures, they immediately launched an attack. Family combination technique, wind and fire demonic tornado, wind and fire magic descended from the sky. The fire, fueled by the wind, intensified. The wind dragon and fire dragon intertwined, sweeping towards the 6 from the blazing sun dynasty. This attack was the Feng family's most proficient combination technique. It's actually a combination technique. The Feng family's most outstanding match is always the third one. Never get tired of watching. This tacit understanding is unique among the 12 dynasties. This is the power of the immortal clan's inheritance. Even foundation establishment cultivators can only avoid its edge. I want to see if the Blazing Sun Dynasty cultivators can withstand the power of a 10-person combination technique. This powerful attack caused the opinions of the many spectators to reverse once again. Could the cultivators of the Blazing Sun Dynasty truly withstand this attack? They were caught off guard and completely at a disadvantage. Yang Genshuo hadn't even noticed this attack. Because the Feng family's ability to discern location by sound far exceeded his 1,000-meter range, he couldn't even see them before they were already preparing their attack. And when they entered Yang Genshuo's field of vision, their combined attack was already complete. It's up to you now. Yang Genshuo stopped operating and handed it over to Yang Fu and Yang Fushuo. The two were naturally not to be trifled with. Enemy attack. Take pills. Yang Fushuo directly took out a burning spirit true fire pill from his ring, which hadn't yet reached the 3rd rank, and gave it to everyone. Boom. 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 6 explosions of energy rang out, and everyone's cultivation surged. Yang Fu directly broke through to the 6th level of key refining. Everyone else directly reached the limit of great perfection of key refining. Shi Hong and Leng Li had already touched the edge of foundation establishment. With me as our foundation, let us unite to defend against the enemy. Yang Fu summoned the glazed fire bottle around his neck, unleashing countless glazed spiritual flames that surged towards the twin tornadoes of wind and fire in the sky. His fire general armor glowed crimson, and streams of spiritual power bolstered Yang Fu's body. Heavenly grade spiritual fire, king of fire. Glazed spiritual fire, annihilation spell, break. Yang Fu and the other 5 activated all their treasures, unleashing powerful waves of spiritual energy. The 6 of them were ablaze, their top-grade magical artifacts unleashing their strongest power, aiding them. The glazed fire bottle in the sky, carrying the flame of life and the power of the cultivators, rushed towards the tornadoes of wind and fire. Countless restrictions were activated, reducing the power of the spells by 20%. The extremely high spiritual pressure of the heavenly grade spiritual fire, flame of life, directly extinguished the fire dragons of the 3 fire cultivators, making them utterly unable to resist. The wind dragons formed by the 7 wind element cultivators were their strongest attack. And the 6 heroes of the Blazing Sun Dynasty, who had taken pills, were no pushovers either. Towering flames, surrounding the glass fire bottle, hurtled towards the wind dragon. Boom. The two collided, unleashing a massive wave of spiritual energy in the sky, exploding the cultivators on both sides. This time, they were caught off guard, but the 6 from the Blazing Sun Dynasty managed to block it. The next second, the complete sets of magical artifacts on the 6 heroes of the Blazing Sun Dynasty flashed by, and they stood up unharmed. Kill! The 6 charged forward without pause, throwing dozens of talismans along the way. Feng Lingjun and his group hadn't even had time to adjust their breathing before facing a massive threat from a mixture of 3rd grade and 2nd grade talismans. Damn it! Where did they get so many talismans? Defend with all your might, form an array. However, Their resistance was futile. Yang Fu and the others' talismans only disrupted their already waning breathing, and the 6 swarmed forward. The fire magic engulfed the 10 members of the Feng family. On the viewing plaza, 10 beams of light flashed in succession. The 10 Feng family cultivators, burned black, stared in disbelief. How could this be? We've been eliminated just like that. What kind of equipment do they have? So luxurious, they even have top-grade pills to aid them. Everyone's cultivation level is extremely high. I also sense 2 extremely terrifying flames that I've never seen on key refining cultivators before, comparable to the Dao Foundation flame. Looking at the regretful, mocking, and amused gazes of the crowd, the elder leading the Sky Garden team was indignant. This is the worst immortal path competition I've ever participated in. What kind of cultivation secret realm would be like this? Absurd. The Sky Garden cultivators turned and left, directly departing from the viewing plaza. In previous years, this dragon-seeking secret realm was the Feng family's main battlefield, where they would achieve the best results. This time, they were all eliminated halfway through. How shameful. After everyone saw the 6 heroes of Blazing Sun defeat the Feng family's 10 members, who were the strongest team in terms of teamwork, in a perfect state, the predictions for the rankings of this competition directly shifted to who would be lucky enough to encounter these 6 people the latest. This is the real world of cultivation. Living long isn't about high cultivation, it's about good luck. If you don't encounter any strong opponents, you can live a little longer. After defeating the Feng family, Yang Genshuo guided them into a hidden cave, navigating a maze, defeating the monsters blocking their path, and reaching the end of the cave. Inside, an old dragon with white hair was sleeping on the ground. Hearing the noise, its eyebrows twitched. Huh? I just slept for a while. Someone found me again. Humans who participated in the challenge, do you have any wishes you'd like me to grant? Note that I cannot attack anyone, nor can I change your rankings, and the more difficult the wish, the more treasures you need to contribute. Snap! Yang Fu and Yang Fushio opened their storage rings, burying the old dragon's head with treasures. The old dragon blinked. You've collected everything from my secret realm. What kind of wishes do you want? Yang Fu looked at the sky. Send a message to each contestant. The poisonous gas in the dragon-seeking secret realm is spreading. Any cultivator who comes into contact with the gas will fail the challenge. Please proceed to the Starfire Tree Sea. It's the last safe place. Then completely shut down the passage that can find you. Is that enough? Old Dragon didn't understand why, but the request wasn't against the rules. Alright, you have enough treasures. I'll send a message for you now. Old Dragon's voice echoed throughout the dragon-seeking secret realm. The next moment, all the contestants began sprinting in one direction. Yang Fu smiled slightly. Senior brothers and sisters, let's finish this competition. My neck has been uncomfortable these past few days. I had a CT scan, and it's a herniated disc. Maybe this is an occupational hazard every author gets. It's painful. What's even more painful is that I haven't finished 3 chapters today. Another short and difficult day. Chapter 150 Fiery Sun 6th. Hearing the sudden announcement from within the dragon-seeking secret realm, everyone watching outside was astonished. When did this new rule appear? Added this year. Where's the poison gas? Who's controlling it? What kind of spiritual power would it take to manipulate an indiscriminate attack within a secret realm? Perhaps only a 5th grade formation could do that. Dragon power. Hearing the commotion, even the Daoyang cultivator was bewildered. No, there's no such rule. Where did this poison gas come from? It's absurd. He was the one hosting this year's Immortal Path competition. He knew all the rules. Hearing the Daoyang cultivator's words, everyone was even more confused. If there's no poison gas, why are these two saying this? Isn't it easily refuted? Muran Ziyan's eyes gleamed with a strange light. She understood. Among these disciples, is there anyone willing to test whether the poison gas is real? The Golden Core elders fell silent. Indeed, who would dare risk their lives to verify the truth of this information? When an official voice announced a new rule, who could question it? Moreover, the dragon acted quite prudently after taking the treasure. It not only issued a public announcement but also unleashed its magic to create green sandstorms at the border of the dragon-seeking secret realm, terrifying the disciples on the edge. Then it swiftly rushed towards the Starfire Tree Sea given to it by the dragon. A blatant conspiracy. Now all the participants have to treat it like poison gas. The people of the Blazing Sun dynasty are driving everyone else to their Starfire Tree Sea. What are they trying to do? Do they want to fight all the dynasties single-handedly? Too arrogant. The people of the Sika dynasty looked worried. They brought Li Yao here to take first place, but the situation didn't seem clear. Whether it was poisonous or not didn't matter, they could just dodge and pounce. Li Yao's current strength was no match for any dynasty. But this second point made them bitter. Because besides having a heavenly spiritual root, Li Yao also possessed some special abilities. He could quickly find treasures and locate the dragon. So he has accumulated many treasures, preparing to find the dragon to exchange for benefits, and use his strength to crush others. Now that the dragon cave has been closed by the Liang dynasty, no one can exchange it. And the worst part is that Li Yao doesn't know this. He is still searching for treasures and the dragon while trying his best to avoid a non-existent poison. Why does it feel like they were deliberately targeting us? No. Why do these two brothers stand out in every level? Can't they have a proper fight with the other geniuses? Every loss is unacceptable. If Yang Genshuo knew what the elder leading the Sika dynasty was thinking, he would probably laugh out loud. Because in this third level, it seems like Yang Fu and Yang Fushio are doing the work, but in fact, he is the one who is in charge. His only goal is to speed up the progress and end the competition when the Liang dynasty is at its strongest. If it drags on for another 10 days or so, the other contestants will also be able to collect a set of magic weapons, and then everyone will not be much different. It's better to go straight to the finals now. Moreover, as a godlike figure, he can also play some of his favorite strategies. Be the sixth one. Let's bring out all the formations. Yang Fu and his group set up 6 formations here, each person operating one. Then they led everyone to climb the towering starfire tree and secretly hid. Senior sister, when we see someone coming, as soon as I activate the formation, you shoot them directly. Then we go down and kill them, okay? I'll do whatever junior brother Yang says. Senior sister unconsciously transformed into Yang Fu's shape. Classic bridge defense tactics. Waiting for the enemy to tire themselves out. Huff huff huff, run faster, or we'll be in big trouble if that poisonous fog catches up with us. They shouldn't be able to catch us for now. Luckily our clansmen are best at running away. Look! The safe zone is ahead. We can go inside and rest for a while. A group of dark-skinned, burly men arrived outside the starfire tree. Leading them was the powerful Baji, a key refining great perfection cultivator who cultivated both earth and metal elements. In terms of ranking, he was only second to the Yang family twins and Li Yao with a heavenly spirit root, and would have been a champion seed in previous years. However, even though he was behind in the first and second rounds, he still had the belief in winning the championship. What follows should be a chaotic battle. Our people have the best physiques, and prolonged combat is their forte. It'll also be a good opportunity to find the others who haven't gathered yet. Whoosh! A plume of fiery red smoke rose up, poisonous mist illusion array. The fire poison continuously attacked their bodies, severely disrupting their senses. Swoosh! 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 A large number of wooden spikes emerged from the ground, piercing out their defensive magical artifacts. Earth wood spike array, not good, we've entered a trap. Retreat, Yang Fushio, draw a circle on the ground array. A large number of earthen walls rose up around them, blocking them inside, making it impossible for them to escape. The next moment, swoosh! A purple bone arrow, glowing with fire, shot towards them. Baji's eyes narrowed, and a defensive earthen spell formed in front of him. Solid wall, bang! The purple bone arrow, carrying immense magical power, pierced directly through the hastily formed solid wall, shooting into his shoulder and instantly piercing through. Blood spurted out. Leng Li, also a dual spiritual root prodigy, possessed a comprehension of magic comparable to Baji. Now, with her intentions aligned with Baji's, the interference of the array, and the addition of Yang Fushio's refined third-grade pills, Baji was no match for her. Yang Fu, such explosive fire magic could only be attributed to Yang Fu. Leng Li floated down from the tree. Wrong, yes, but I can reward you with a junior brother Yang. The next moment, flames engulfed the earth. The 5 members of the Liang dynasty launched their attack from the tree. Bang bang bang. 5 flashes of white light, and the favorite to win, Baji, along with the other cultivators from the Yindi dynasty, were instantly killed by the array and the sneak attack, teleported away by the teleportation array. Only the treasures they had found in the dragon-seeking secret realm remained on the ground. Yang Fu and the others divided them up, swapping what was useful, and then climbed back up the tree to wait for the next destined one. Are these legitimate cultivators? They're demonic cultivators, aren't they? These people are too insidious. How can they fight like this? It completely defeats the purpose of the Immortal Path competition. I suggest a thorough investigation of the Liang dynasty. The demonic cultivators of the Dynai dynasty might have come from their side. The behavior of the sixth member of the Liang dynasty's group of 6 aroused the dissatisfaction of many participating dynasties. However, they hadn't broken any rules, so they could only condemn them, which didn't have much effect. But when the cultivators from the Dynai dynasty looked over with questioning eyes, Li Zhuoyang and Meng San felt a little awkward. Ahem. Don't listen to their nonsense. The people of our Liang dynasty are the most forthright and honest. That's right. Haven't you heard the saying, the Liang dynasty has always been full of generous and tragic figures? Then what about these two? The cultivators from other dynasties pointed to Yang Fu and Yang Fushul, who were instructing their fellow disciples on how to be insidious. Perhaps their ancestors were from your Dynai dynasty. Li Zhuoyang felt a little guilty. He knew Yang Fushul's character best. I haven't even prepared a spiritual meal for you yet. Come visit my medicine garden peak sometime, and I'll show you what it means to live on the edge. Meng San looked puzzled. Yang Fu isn't usually like this. Could he have been corrupted by Yang Fushul? Go back and talk to him. Tell him to stay away from his brother in the future. There were too many complaints outside, but it didn't stop Yang Fu and his group from continuing to scheme against others. Moreover, after doing a few things, the 6 heroes of Liang became more and more skilled. Leng Li's face was filled with excitement. Junior brother, I've never felt so wonderful in a battle. Shi Hong nodded seriously. This may be the true way of battle. Crushing weaklings is fun for a while, and it's even more fun to keep crushing weaklings. The 6 heroes of Liang were having a great time guarding the Starfire Tree Sea. But unfortunately, they could only guard 2 directions. Many cultivators were already approaching from the other 2 directions. The most troublesome Li Yao had also arrived, and he was extremely cautious. He conjured a ball of water mist in his hand and let it float into the air. Cloud mirror technique. Strands of 7-colored light shone towards Yang Fu and the others hidden in the tree. The 6th brother in the tree was revealed, and all the cultivators who had reached the Starfire Tree Sea saw the 6th brother and their formation. The remaining cultivators were startled and instantly distanced themselves. We've been exposed. Yang Genshuo scratched his head, ultimately failing to ambush all the contestants. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.